Kamala Harris going on this pornographic podcast. Never seen anything like it. So we're going to cover all that and a whole bunch more. Where are my headphones? My headphones are gone. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Someone took my headphones. Where are my headphones? They're in here. Okay, they're in the other room. Oh my goodness. Can't go on the air without headphones. Because you can't hear anything. Alrighty, welcome one and all. It is Monday, October 2nd, 2024. My name is Brian Craig. And of course, you're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio. Since 1977, we've got a lot to cover today, no doubt about that. Of course, we'll talk about Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are responsible for the god-awful terrorist attack that happened a year ago in Israel. We'll talk about that and why they are responsible. President Trump's incredible rally in Butler, a lot more. And of course, Kamala Harris did something very strange. She decided to go on to a sex podcast and talk about things. And she's got all these interviews set up this week, which are really, all of them are a joke, right? This, what is this sex podcast called? It's called Call Her Daddy. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute, but she's doing Colbert. Stephen Colbert. First of all, Stephen Colbert is an actor who found his way doing a talk show because he was acting out this character of Bill O'Reilly on The Daily Show. In fact, there's an episode, Stephen Colbert is in an episode of Law and Order from many years ago, back in the Jerry Orbach days. He's not even like a real, political person. He's an actor. Howard Stern is, and it's a really sad thing about Howard Stern because he used to be the king of all media. He was a big deal. And now he's a woke old Jewish lady living in Palm Beach now. I mean, he's just bizarre. I mean, he's really a disappointment, I think, to a lot of people, millions of people. Because Howard Stern used to fight the man and take on the establishment and pig vomit and all that, if you've seen the movie Private Parts, which is a very good movie. And then he messed up his marriage. He got married to the new girl, and ever since he married his current wife, he's just become a weak person. I mean, he's just a disappointment. So that'll be a big suck-up interview. And that's that. I mean, this is just, there's some other ones too, but these are all weak interviews. President Trump has been, going out and doing interviews on some podcasts and such too with people that don't already support him or not in his normal group. And this Call Her Daddy podcast that Kamala Harris went on is a sex podcast. I mean, make no mistake about it. I'd never heard of this podcast before. She did the interview, and I went through some of the episode titles. I mean, listen to this one. Okay, so Kamala's on the podcast now. Most recent episode, 2 episodes ago. This was the title. BJs, hall passes, and frat daddies. Yeah. Now, I'm not up on all the latest skank vocabulary of Gen Z and the millennials, so I did a little Googling, and I did listen to a little bit of a couple different episodes. I'm not exactly sure what a frat daddy is, but a hall pass in this episode she did a couple episodes back before Kamala, what I have taken from that is a hall pass is what people give their spouse so they can go out and play the field. Here's your hall pass. They used to call it swinging. Here's some other titles. I made out with my boyfriend's mistress. Oh, well, that's classy. Yeah. Here's another one. Threesomes and Ozempic. That's a great one. Yeah. Threesomes and Ozempic. And it goes on and on and on. And it is beneath the office of the presidency to go on such a program. I mean, it's a perverted, sexually graphic podcast. Hey, it's America. We have the First Amendment. This girl can do her podcast and everything. But if you're running for president of the United States, especially when everyone knows you got where you are by hooking up with married men and finding older sugar daddies to give you jobs and things, do you think it's smart to go on a podcast that's a sex podcast? Would you do that? Would you recommend it? And I've been telling you this for, a couple of months. And a lot of people think I'm nuts. But two things. One, I've repeatedly told you I believe Kamala has given up. You see, in the last week or so, we have a hurricane that did incredible damage. Last week, we've got another pretty bad one coming here to Florida. It's going to hit in the middle of the week. And she's talking to girls that are doing shows on BJ's hall passes and making out with their boyfriend's mistress. Oh yeah, that's presidential. So not only has Kamala given up, there are people inside her campaign that are out to sabotage her. Sabotage. And putting her on podcasts like this is sabotage, in my opinion. Now, you can agree or disagree with that. That's fine. And we got to talk about Kamala. We're not going to have much longer to talk about her because in a month, President Trump is going to be President-elect President Trump because he's a president and he'll be President-elect. President-elect President Trump. They can stop saying that former crap. President-elect President Trump. That'll be his title. And then in January, it'll be back to President Trump, CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News. Enough of this, the former president this and the former president that. Former President Trump. We get it. We know. I don't hear them say, Jimmy Carter's in the news a lot. I don't hear them saying, former President Jimmy Carter was taken out in the sun today. Former President Barack Obama. No, they just say president. We know. But they want to emphasize that former thing. But there are certain things that people do that are beneath the dignity of what they're doing, what they're running for, the office that they hold. And going on a sex podcast as the sitting vice president of the United States is beneath the dignity of the office. And also beneath the dignity of the office that she's seeking out, which of course is the presidency of the United States. So we'll go through all of these things on today's program and take your calls on them, but I'm glad that Kamala Harris is doing these things. I really am, because it shows what she's all about. Stupidity. She's a ditzy Valley Girl type. She's just an idiot. There are certain things you just wouldn't do. I got a letter here from someone, maybe I'll read it later, about doing an interview with me. And I get people contacting me to do interviews. I don't really do interviews. And when I do them, I'm very select on which ones I do for all kinds of reasons. Okay? You have to. You have to. You have to maintain your image to a certain extent. That doesn't mean you can't go on things that are different and do interviews with different types of people. And I'm not talking about the Colbert interview or the Stern interview. I'm talking in particular about a sex podcast, because that's what it is. And there are just certain things that you don't... So I'm here to tell you, the sex podcast that she did is sabotage against Kamala Harris. That's my opinion. Well, I'll get into some more detail. I'll play a couple of sound bites. And I do have a letter from someone who wants to have a sit-down with me, in case they're listening. Patrice, who actually wrote a physical letter, which I may read some of this coming up. You know what? I am going to read some of this coming up because there's a point I want to make about this letter from a listener. All right, listen, it's a new week. It's the 7th of October. We'll talk about that, of course, on the program as well. Coming up on 15 minutes after the hour. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Our number toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. We'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome. If you're new, make sure you subscribe.
So excited to be celebrating 50 years here in South Florida. The Cohen family started their first health food store in 1972, and ever since have been one of the largest locally owned, family-run health food stores in the area. We carry thousands of supplements like vitamins, minerals, herbs, homeopathic, diet,
Where am I?
and so much more. All your favorite top-quality brands. We also have tons of natural foods like gluten-free, paleo, and organic, as well as health and beauty aids, pet foods, and more.
This is the angel water I'm drinking. See, no coffee again. I've cut my coffee back in half.
For all your family's natural health needs. So stop by Nutrition World at the northeast corner of PG Boulevard and Prosperity Farms Road in the Carmine's Market Plaza by the Prosperity entrance. You can call us or text us anytime at 561
Hey, what's up?
626-4377. That's 626-4377. Or nutritionworld.com. Come see us 7 days a week at Nutrition World Palm Beach Gardens.
When it comes to dental work, there's no one better than Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental.
There's a couple things I'll take the bottom of the hour we got to do. I'll take the bottom of the hour because...
You're on the air. Which one? Where are you calling from?
This is Richie, Dr. Gupta. I go 139 miles to this guy. I had a broken tooth. He fixed it. It was supposed to be temporary. It lasted 2 years. He put dentures.
Yeah, I got that going. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, at the bottom, I'll go over a couple things with you real quick. Mike's running late. Don't tell anybody.
City Festival and Business Expo. A day jam-packed full of health tips, city fun, and business showcases. Friday, October 11th from 10 to 3 at Pat Larkins Community Center in Pompano Beach. Onlys will be on hand from 11 to 1. We'll see you there.
Learn more and see a full list of events at GreaterSouthFloridaChamber.com.
Attention seniors, are you not happy with your current Medicare plan? If not, give Debbie at I Will Advisors a call. 954-753-8080. That's 954-753-8080. There are 5-star rated plans that you can enroll in the middle of the year. That's right, you don't have to wait for open enrollment. Debbie and her family have been taking care of Steve Kane Show listeners since 1993. Debbie even handles Steve Kane's Medicare. So if you're not happy with your current Medicare plan, give Debbie a call right now and go over the options. 954-753-8080. Debbie can help you no matter where you're located in the state of Florida. 954-753-8080. And online, IWillAdvisors.com.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world.
All right. Coming up on 19 minutes after the hour, I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Before we get back to this call her daddy and Kamala embarrassment of an interview, you know, today's October 7th. 1 year ago today, Hamas, backed by Iran, did barbaric crimes against Israel. Okay? And I'm not going to sit around and apologize. I support Israel. And they've always been an ally of the United States since they became a country in 1948. And Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are directly responsible for that October 7th attack on Israel by Hamas, a disgusting, sick, twisted attack. And, oh my goodness, I mean, it's just god-awful what they did. And, of course, unfortunately, anti-Semitism is pretty normal in this country, and there's a lot of very confused people that equate defending Israel with our involvement with Ukraine. Ukraine is a welfare state, guys. You know, Ukraine, which we have no interest in. I mean, there's, you know, this is, you know. But Ukraine, we are giving them everything. All the weapons that Ukraine gets from the United States are a gift of the American taxpayer. And on top of that, we are funding the entire country. Their water plants, power plants, roads. They get a pothole and it gets fixed. U.S. taxpayers pay for the replacement of the pothole damage in Ukraine. We're paying the salaries of all the government workers. Their version of Social Security, their national pensioners, we're paying for that. We're paying for everything in Ukraine. Israel, we're not paying for any of that stuff. The weapons that we give Israel, we don't give them, we sell them to Israel. Israel actually purchases the weapons from the United States. They are not a welfare state like Ukraine. All right? And there's a lot of talk about peace negotiations between Hamas and Israel. Where's the peace talks with Ukraine and Putin? They want another 20-year war, people. They're trying to bring back the Cold War with Russia. All right? And they have for the last couple years. But Israel pays for all those weapons. We don't just give them to them. But Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are directly responsible for the attack a year ago in Israel, and this is why. They drove up the price of oil, which made Iran flush with cash, on top of the cargo planes of unmarked bills that Biden and Obama have been sending over there every chance they get. And by the way, they're responsible for Russia, too, because of the oil prices. You've heard President Trump talk about this. When oil prices were low, there was not much profit in a barrel of oil, and Russia and Iran had to run their countries. So they didn't have extra money. Now, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have made Russia, Putin, and Iran rich, and they can fund all this stuff. Terrorism, invasions of countries. So they are 100% directly responsible for both attacks. The October 7th attack in Israel and Putin's invasion of Ukraine. That's a fact. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to see it. Okay? But don't let anybody equate support of Israel. I know Candace Owens hates Jews. I understand that. And she spreads a lot of poison out there. And a lot of people buy it. And a lot of people are fooled because she's been doing some stuff on Kamala's family background, most of which is anticlimactic and total nonsense. But don't fall for that. Okay? And here you've got an ally of ours, Israel, and the Democrats that are running this country now are trying to get that Hamas vote in Michigan and in Minnesota and all these other places, so they're willing to sell the Jews out because they don't want to alienate their Hamas groups that they have supporting them in Michigan and Minnesota and a few other pockets around the country. I'm sorry, that's what it's all about. To not support Israel is to be anti-Semitic. To be against Zionism is to be anti-Semitic. I mean, this is just, it's unfortunate, but it's something that's been lost. Our education system's been taken over by liberal anti-Semites. They hate America. They don't even teach American history really anymore. They teach this 1619 garbage. All right? They teach critical race theory and all these things. They don't teach the real history anymore. So we've got two generations, millennials and Gen Z, that really don't understand American history, and they certainly don't understand what's going on in Israel. It's unfortunate. But 100% unprovoked attack and a barbaric attack on civilians. And what they did is they told those Hamas terrorists, fly in on your ultralight, kidnap women, and you can have them as your sex slaves. And they did it. It's insane. I remember when they made that deal and they gave Gaza to the Hamas people, to the Palestinians. And when that was something that was debated for quite some time. And what the debate was is they're going to have a launching pad to make attacks on Israel. And boom, here we are. They did it. Right? And there's so much confusion going on. So no, I support Israel. I make no apologies for it. And if you don't, take a trip to Washington and go to the Holocaust Museum. Watching Schindler's List ain't going to do it. You go to the Holocaust Museum. Scare the living daylights out of you. Do they even read the Diary of Anne Frank in school anymore? They probably don't. It wasn't written by Maya Angelou or Morrison or something. I don't know. Do they still read Diary of Anne Frank? What about Night? Do they read that? Probably not. So, it's so the significance of all of these things have most certainly been lost. And it's unfortunate. There's a lot of conservatives out there that are anti-Semitic and don't even know it. To not support Israel is to be anti-Semitic. And I'm sure there are people listening to me now that don't, they're, disagreeing with that. It's America. You can disagree, but I believe on this I'm right. It's an unfortunate thing. You got to understand the purpose that Israel of Israel's existence is because Jews had nowhere to escape to during the Holocaust and the build-up to the Holocaust. All right? Beyond just the Bible tells us it's the land of the Jews that God gave the Jews, but beyond even that, the Jews had nowhere to go. Even the United States wouldn't take Jews in who were fleeing Europe. Okay? And the countries of Europe, many of them, they handed their Jews over to the Nazis. That's just the way of it. And Israel was established in 1948 because of the horrors of the Holocaust, the Nuremberg trials, and there were the Jews needed a homeland to go to be safe. And now it's not safe, and we've got the United States right now backing those who are trying to complete the Holocaust by wiping out Israel. All right, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. Those of you on hold, stand by. I'll start getting into some of the sound bites as well that I have for today after the bottom of the hour break. It's the Steve Kane Show. Our number toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. Okay. If you send me the weather, I'll do it real quick. Oh, it's still playing the old one.
Same-day service and installation. Visit allyearcooling.com to schedule your service today. And remember, the All Year family is here to serve your family all year long. And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Okay, yeah, I'm doing it now.
Starts here Monday.
This traffic update is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you can save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now, so what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. That's traffic. I'm Dory Don.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Where is it? There you go. There's 2 new spots I sent Mike, but I did them this morning, so they're not in the system yet. So there's 2 that are on the log that are out of date. The I Will Advisors and the My Pillow. We gotta not run those today because the new. Yeah, it's okay. But after that,
I will, right?
I will. Yeah, the ones that are in there are dated, so the new spots aren't in there yet. They'll start tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, those have to. Both of those have to be deleted because they'll have dated information. They'll never play again. You can't put the new ones in, can you?
I can see, but
You need him to do it to log him in, right? Okay. I emailed them to him this morning. Spots are what we call commercials in the radio world. If you're wondering what spots are.
I'm curious, like, you don't do...
Invited. This time, we're sailing for 7 nights on Celebrity Cruise Line's newest ship, the Ascent, to Puerto Plata, St. Thomas, and St. Martin. We set sail March 30th. We have private shore excursions, private cocktail parties, group activities. We're going to go to the shows together and much, much more. Call in at Cruise and Travel Depot right now. 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. And online at cruisingdepot.com to make your reservation and lock in our private group rate. Nothing comes close to Celebrity Cruises.
And now a message from Scott from CutMyKilowatts.com.
This is Scott from CutMyKilowatts.com. We're back. Dog days of summer are upon us. Your AC is struggling, running constantly, trying to hold the temperature, maybe even failing late afternoon. Your electric bill has gone up, even double. Radiant barrier is the cure. Stop the heat gain, lowering the temperatures in the attic up to 40 degrees, cutting the FPL bills up to 40%. Dog days of summer sale. Save 50% on radiant barrier and insulation removal, rat proofing. We even do AC ducts in the heat of the summer. Act now and get $500 off radiant barrier over 2,000 square feet and $1,000 off over 4,000 square feet. Plus a 30% federal tax credit. So call now, 954-939-1500 to save big. Call 954-939-1500 and talk to the owner, Scott. That's 954-939-1500 or cutmykilowatts.com. Estimates given on the phone, work done in days, not weeks. Easier than ordering a pizza.
When you need lab work, don't waste hours and hours waiting at the doctor's office or one of those big labs. Go to any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. Their prices are guaranteed to be the lowest you'll find anywhere. No appointment, doctor's
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get it here. The latest track looks like Tampa.
I was about to say, I know, like, late yesterday, it was, like, going back down south. But
Yeah.
It's probably, it's going to keep going back and forth.
Yeah.
South, of course. So.
But, I mean, unless they want to turn it over to the news coverage for the hurricane, I mean, never done that?
Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
We'll see.
You never know.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show.
All right, callers on hold, stand by. A couple quick things, and we'll get to the. I'm going to play one sound bite, but first I'm going to talk a little bit about this Hurricane Milton that's coming on. Things are a little different because we have listeners throughout the state of Florida. We have listeners throughout the country, but we've got a lot of listeners throughout the entire state of Florida. And years ago, when we were just had a South Florida audience, you know, I didn't concern myself when the hurricanes were hitting elsewhere in Florida. But this Hurricane Milton is a bad one. And I got to tell you, the hurricane coverage on the news over the weekend sucked on television. I didn't really get a good, accurate forecast or model until last night from the Weather Channel. You know, I was telling you during that last hurricane, Fox News was doing great stuff. They sucked over the weekend. I've never seen, Brian Norcross was just awful. And the spaghetti models, okay, there's that cone. There's a Canadian model, which I've never seen before. The Canadian model has the hurricane really far south. And they have to include all those models in the cone. So now again, I am not a meteorologist. I'm just a guy that's been through a whole bunch of hurricanes in Florida, and I watch a lot of this coverage. This is very layman stuff. So do not take what I'm telling you as a weather forecast, because it's not. But the cone is unusually large and it's south because of this outlier Canadian model that I've never heard of again. The best model to go by is the European model, which I noticed the news over the weekend doesn't want to go over the European model. But the European model, it shouldn't be this way. It should be the model from the National Hurricane Center in Miami from the United States. But the European model is the most accurate. Now, they got this thing, they're going by the consensus model now. Now, I don't ever remember hearing them go by a consensus model. I guess they're embarrassed that the European one is so accurate, so they've come up with this consensus model. But it looks like closer to Tampa now. Now, that could change. We're a day or so out. And I concern myself with these hurricanes because there's so many new people in Florida the last few years that don't understand, or they may not even be prepared. You know, and I went out yesterday. I filled up all my cars over the weekend, and I went yesterday and filled up all my 5-gallon jugs for my generator because it looked like it was coming south, and it's north. And I don't mind buying all the extra gas for the generator because if the hurricane doesn't hit, I'll just use that in my cars, you know, for the next few weeks. I won't have to go to the gas station anymore, so it's not like I've really bought, you know, anything. I didn't overload on supplies, bought some stuff. But yesterday afternoon, some of my neighbors put up their hurricane shutters already. And I just, you know, I am outside of the cone where I live, okay? At least the last time I checked, I'm just outside of the cone. And again, the cone is going, I believe. Now, this is just my opinion. I'm not a weatherman. I'm not a meteorologist. The cone is going a little further south than it should because of this Canadian model that I never heard of again before this. That has them bringing it down south, but it looks like the Tampa, Fort Myers, Sarasota area is as of now where it's going. I could change, you know, and all that stuff. But if you're those of you that are new to Florida, if you're in an evacuation zone, get out. Okay, get out. The people that die in hurricanes, for the most part, not always, but most of the people that die in hurricanes are the people that don't get out of the evacuation zones when they're told to. And those storm surges, it's not like undertows at the beach. The storm surges, the seas rise for a period of time. Okay, you're in the ocean. You're dead. That's it. You're dead. You're done. If that storm surge gets you, that's it. No help's coming. You're dead. You're dead before you even know it. So if you're in an evacuation zone, get out. And, you know, do whatever you do. Okay, before I go to phones, I just want to play one clip of Kamala on this Call Her Daddy Sex podcast that she went on over the weekend. I guess that's where Kamala is comfortable, sitting around with skanks who talk about BJs making out with their boyfriends' mistresses and all of this. And there's another show where they talked about something called Whiskey D. I didn't know what that was, so I listened to that episode. You can figure out what the D is. And it's the whiskey part is when they're hooking up with a guy. Classy broads, huh? They're just so classy. They're hooking up with the guy who's so drunk he can't fully get into it. And they call it Whiskey D. And they say, whiskey, ever had Whiskey D? Oh, my goodness. Their mothers must be so proud. But let me play this one clip. This is Kamala with the Call Her Daddy podcast girl.
I'm curious, like, you don't do too many long-form interviews. What made you want to do Call Her Daddy today?
Well, I think you and your listeners have really got this thing right, which is one of the best ways to communicate with people is to be real, and to talk about the things that people really care about. I mean, what I love about what you do is that your voice in your show is really about your listeners.
Really, yeah. Whiskey D, making out with the mistress of your boyfriend. That's keeping it real. That's where Kamala's comfortable.
And I think especially now, this is a moment in the country and in life where people really want to know they're seen and heard and that they're part of a community, that they're not out there alone. And so I'm really glad to be with you.
Boy, she has perfected the art of saying nothing, Kamala. She really does. She says nothing. Here's another clip.
I want to pose this question more to you and the daddy gang, but one of the biggest conversations in this year's election revolves around a woman's body.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I want to take a moment, and can we try to think of any law that gives the government the power to make a decision?
I know what you're going to ask.
Yeah, probably because it's all scripted out like all the other interviews, right? Remember that teleprompter on the Oprah thing?
Think of any law that gives the government the power to make a decision.
I know what you're going to ask.
About a man's body.
No.
Is there any law?
No. It's no.
No. Is that what she told Willie Brown when she was trying to get that job? Now, of course, everyone has picked up on this. This is not some brilliant outside-the-box thinking because I've heard this said by others, but there is a law, and there's that take body autonomy away from men. In fact, at least 1 million men are dead because of it. Right? It's called the draft. All of us that are men are required at the age of 18 to register with Selective Service, and they can call upon you and draft you and send you off to die, and you got no choice. That's right. There's probably some other things too, but that's a big one. Everyone's talking about this. And this goes back, this brilliant legal mind of Kamala Harris. I still do not believe she passed the bar exam. I think her boyfriend, Willie Brown, got her passed. I really do. She failed it the first time, and I think that's what's happened. Still, no videos, no photos of her inside a courtroom arguing a case in front of a jury. And now we see why. She's a bird brain, even when it comes to the law. All right, let's go to the phones. 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning.
Hey, Richie, what's up?
Yeah, I'll give you a law right up front for men and for women also. You can't commit suicide. You commit suicide.
It is against the law. Yeah. And do you know, by the way, there's another one too. Talk about no law restricting men. Do you know that if you're a man, you cannot take money in exchange for sex? You're not allowed to hire prostitutes, and you're not allowed to prostitute yourself out. So, you go to jail for both ends of that crime. But, there's this great legal mind here. Kamala Harris says there's no law against telling men what to do with their body. How many men are on that wall in Vietnam that are up there because they were drafted? That Vietnam Wall in D.C. Of the 58,000, how many were drafted? A lot.
Probably about 90%.
That's right, and they're on that wall in D.C.
Yeah, let me say something about you brought up Israel. I have to chime in here and it has to do with being in the service and everything else. I went to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and I took my basic training. I went back up there to try to go on post to look around again, and there's guard gates, and they have all sorts of rockets on that. rockets and everything else on that base. I don't see that base mixed in with a residential neighborhood. You see people out there that are on TV. I watch indiscriminate bombing of civilian apartment buildings. Well, I watched one the other day that when it bombed it looked like the 4th of July with the rockets coming out, shooting up in the air.
Well, and Richie, you guys that are Vietnam veterans, the reason there were so many civilian casualties in Vietnam is the VC were hanging out in the civilian areas.
And not fight a war when they use human beings as their shields. They put tunnels underneath human being apartment buildings and kitchens when you're having dinner on a Sunday. They're disgusting. They deserve to be annihilated, and I don't give a
yeah.
problem with that. Annihilation, total annihilation. The United States has no backbone. They're catering to terrorists, and they are terrorists.
Correct.
I don't like it. I mean, this is. Look.
And if you remember, in World War II, there were a lot of battles in North Africa where all the Muslims were, right? Brahmo, all that stuff. I don't remember the Nazis invading. The Muslims welcomed them in. They've always, the Muslims and the Nazis had a common enemy, the Jews.
Yeah, that's their whole charter, kill Jews. Those are the for any American that goes and marches. I want you to remember one thing. It was 2001 now, so many years ago, 9/11, when then these people took airplanes, crashed in the World Trade Center, saying God is great in their language.
Mm-hmm.
God is great. They had no problem killing 3,000 civilians.
That's right.
These are animals. I'm sorry.
They are. No, you're right.
President Trump's right. We call them animals. They are animals.
Correct.
Yeah, and one other thing I got to say. They're saying that this hurricane in North Carolina, they're saying President Trump's lying, that FEMA's doing the job and he's getting in the way, and that the money that was spent was not out of the FEMA funds.
This is not. Well, I got to run, Richie, but I appreciate the call. If you're on hold, stand by. I want to talk about Dr. Appleton. Oh man, if you're in pain, why you haven't go see Dr. Appleton? Before I met Dr. Appleton, aches and pains, I just thought it was part of getting older, right? As you get older, you get more aches and pains. I remember my grandparents when I was a kid, they always had this going on. They always had this ache. They always had this pain. They had the arthritis. And I just thought that was it, And Dr. Appleton, he's rid me of pain 5 times from arthritis in my hand, my years of suffering knee pain, my shoulder pain. It's amazing. The laser wave pain treatment of Dr. Appleton's works. He rid me of pain 5 times. He can do the same for you. Give him a call, 954-973-0710. Remember, appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. And Dr. Appleton performs all the laser treatments himself. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning.
William! Thank you for the super chat. The FEMA director doesn't care about the people's... Yeah, that's right, just illegals. You are correct. You are correct.
Look, you can look at my career to know.
If you're on hold, hang in there.
Craig here. If you're a homeowner, business owner,
It'll be back, Rhonda.
Homeowners Association, and your roof is old or compromised, you need to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting. With a AAA credit rating and bonded up to $10 million, Laporta Contracting doesn't need a large deposit like those other contractors do. Typical deposits other contractors want are 1/3 of the contract. If your job
We'll
is
be back shortly.
that's a $10,000 deposit. If your job is $300,000, that's $100,000. What are they doing with your money? Typically,
Now, you guys know ActicFox, who's in the chat all the time. She has an Etsy shop that I'm promoting, and I'm going to put her Etsy link. I'm going to pin it to the top of the chat. It's also in the description of the video. ActicFox, she's in the chat every day, and she has a great Etsy shop with all kinds of cool things. So click on her link, take a look at her shop, do a little Christmas shop in there if you want.
954-604-4602. And online, LaportaContracting.com.
Do you suffer from neuropathy? I did, until I went to Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in my hands and feet, muscle weakness.
All right, we'll be back right after this. If you're on hold, hang in there.
Have all but disappeared. Say goodbye to your neuropathy symptoms. Call Lighthouse Medical Center for a free consultation. 754-222-6642.
We take you to social justice warriors for breakfast.
All right, we are back. It's Monday, October 7th. Kamala Harris over the weekend went on a sex podcast and did an interview on a sex podcast. Class act. Class act, Kamala. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from...
Hey, Mike.
You know, if she actually had a shot of winning, she wouldn't have appeared on that podcast. Pelosi and Schumer and Obama would have put their foot down and said, "You're not going."
Yeah, it's true. All right, Mike. You're right. And I'll tell you the thing about Kamala. You know, we know that she looks like a dope because she didn't go to North Carolina and help those people. We have this other hurricane this is a bad one that's hitting Florida. Okay? And I had a trip scheduled. My daughter and a friend of hers were flying in from California on Thursday. I was going to meet my daughter Friday when I got off the air. I was going to take the Bright Line, actually, to Orlando and spend the weekend at Halloween Horror Nights with my daughter and her friend in Orlando. We canceled the trip yesterday because of this hurricane. And the part of Florida, Florida's a red state, but, I know Kamala Harris thinks that if you're a red state, no government help for you. I mean, we only give help to people that are blue or illegal. But the part of Florida that's going to be hit by the hurricane, that Central Florida area, that's Democrat country. That's a blue area of Florida, sanctuary city, counties, and everything else going on up there. So if you're a Democrat and you live in a red state, you're screwed under Kamala Harris. They will only help people that give them blue states or illegals. There's a lot of illegals too in that area, but they're in a red state, so they don't care. But she could, instead of doing these stupid interviews on the Call Her Daddy Sex podcast or Colbert or wasting time on Howard Stern. My goodness, I mean, who even listens to Stern anymore? I mean, he's such a girl. But instead of doing that, which is a waste of time, speaking to the echo chamber, she could come to Florida and lead the FEMA effort. You know what's scary about this bird brain Kamala Harris? She thinks she's an accomplished woman. Listen to this. This is another clip from the Call Her Daddy Sex podcast. I know they may deny that they're a sex podcast, but they're talking about giving husbands hall passes. They're talking about Whiskey D, making out with their boyfriend's mistresses, and there's other things too. There's one of them, they have a guest on, they discuss rethinking infidelity. Class act trash. Here's another clip from the Call Her Daddy Sex podcast with Kamala Harris. Hold on. I lost the connection. Hold on. Oh, wait. I missed the question. Let me rewind it. This is a good question. Now, if it'll play. I hate when this happens. This is what happens when you use the internet.
So...
The question is, how can people trust you?
You can look at my career to know what I care about.
What, really? The career. You look at, and I will she says, look at my career. I will challenge any Democrat in this audience to list one career accomplishment of Kamala Harris's. Just one. I'll take two, but one. Something that she did. Can you think of it? She's been district attorney. She's been, now it has to be a positive accomplishment, I would hope, but I'll take a negative one too. But, she was attorney general, district attorney, a United States senator, and vice president of the United States. Out of all those jobs, what is one accomplishment that you can list? Because she tells us to look at her accomplishments. I don't know of any. Not that are good. So perhaps you could share them. And I'll, if you're a Democrat, I'll tell you this. I won't even challenge you on it. It'll be hard. You can share the accomplishment, and I'll thank you for sharing it. 1-888-465-2631. And I think she believes she's an accomplished person. I really do. I think she would be shocked to think that she hasn't accomplished anything. She actually thinks she has. You know why she thinks she has? Because she's a bird brain. She's a stupid person. She doesn't know that she hasn't. Now, right now in studio, I'm drinking, I've given up half of my normal coffee, which is saving me a lot of money. You know how much I spend on that 4 shots of espresso? Two of those a day? Oh my goodness, they just raised their prices. 2. I probably saved, I don't even want to tell you, I'm embarrassed to tell you how much I'm saving, but I'm saving a lot of money cutting my coffee intake in half from Starbucks, I will tell you that. And I'm drinking my Angel Water here. I have my Angel Water in my Stanley Cup, and people still ask me, they leave comments online, you're drinking the filtered water, but the ice cubes in that are not filtered. Well, yes, in fact, they are, because the Angel Water purification system filters all the water before it enters my home. So all the water in my house, sink, refrigerator, dishwasher, washing machine, bathtub, showers, all the bathroom sinks, even the toilets, filtered water. If I still had a dog, the dog would be drinking filtered water in the middle of the night out of the toilet. Everything is filtered, all right? And I'm going to give you Angel Water's number in just a moment. You want to call them and have Rocky come out and test your water like he did mine. And I think you'll be shocked at what you're drinking, too. The water, the way I describe it, it tastes like Fiji water, which is incredibly expensive Fiji water. It really is. But it tastes just like the Fiji water. It's very good. And I've noticed my clothes, they feel better because they're being washed with the Angel Water. It's absolutely amazing. The dishes in the dishwasher, better. The water tastes delicious, and it's healthy. When I get out of the shower, my wife and I both notice this. Our skin feels like we put moisturizer on it because we've been showering with that old water. Not anymore. Not with the Angel Water purification system. You'll save money. I'll be buying bottled water anytime soon. You'll be healthier. It'll extend the life of all the appliances that use water in your home, including, by the way, the water heater, not just the dishwasher and washing machine. Angel Water's water purification system takes out toxins that other systems don't, and it gets rid of all those forever chemicals, which are the most dangerous thing in your water right now, and that's according to the EPA. And they have an incredible offer for listeners of this program, okay? Angel Water is going to give you a free, under-the-sink, reverse osmosis system with the purchase of a whole house refiner. I have both of these, the reverse osmosis system under the sink and the whole house refiner. I have both of them. So they're going to give you a free under the sink reverse osmosis system with the purchase of a whole house refiner. Also, they're offering 12 months no interest financing with no prepayment penalty. So give them a call. Rocky will come out to your house for free and test your water. Here's the number: 561-899-6585. 561-899-6585. That's 561-899-6585. All right. We're going to take our break for the top of the hour. Callers on hold, stand by. We've got a lot to cover on the program. I'll get you your calls after the top of the hour break. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 47 years on the radio. But just in a short couple of months, we're going to have to change that to 48. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. The big 5-0 will be here before we know it. All right. We'll be right back after this. I'll be right back, guys. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you're on hold, hang in there. Okay.
It's showtime at PBKC. Get your tickets today for Paddock dinner shows, including the Pure Zeppelin Experience this Friday night, October 11th, plus Let It Be November 8th, and Petty Nicks November 22nd. And don't miss comedian Jimmy Fowler for 2 shows, November 15th and
Daddy
16th.
Gangs put it in our TikTok terms. I have seen girls on the street walk up to men and be like, "Do you know where a tampon goes?"
Are you planning on retiring in the next 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, at any point in your life? Or are you already retired? Listen, economically, it's a mess with the stock market ups and downs and inflation out of control. In fact, it's the highest inflation rate in 40 years. You need a plan of action for your retirement plans. You need the advice of a retirement expert who can help you protect your money, guarantee your income, and stop losing money. Joe Thomas is president of Retirement Network Advisors, South Florida's premier retirement experts, and has been for over 20 years. He's seen it all and is a true professional that you can trust. They're family owned and operated. His daughter Jenny works with him. You know Joe and Jenny from right here in True Oldies. He's the host of the Jupiter Joe Money Show, and he's been doing that for over a decade. You need Jupiter Joe's book, The Retirement Know-It-All. Mention my name, Brian Craig, and receive a free copy of his ebook.
By the way, guys, that link pinned to the top of the chat, it's also in the description. ActicFox, who is in the chat all the time, she's sponsoring the show, and that's a link to her Etsy shop. You'll find great things there. She's in the chat every day, both here and on the podcast. You'll find great gifts there for Christmas, for yourself, any occasion, or just things to have around the house. Check it out.
days of summer sales. 50% on radiant barrier and insulation, insulation removal, radiant feet. We even do AC ducts in the heat of the summer. Act now and get $500 off radiant barrier over 2,000 square feet and $1,000 off over 4,000 square feet, plus a 30% federal tax credit. So call now 954-939-1500 to save big. Call 954-939-1500 and talk to the owner Scott. That's 954-939-1500 or cutmykilowatts.com. Estimates given on the phone, work done in days, not weeks. Easier than ordering a pizza.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with...
All right, we are back. I'm Brian at the Steve Kane Show. Call us on hold, stand by. One more clip. So, if you're just tuning in, Kamala Harris went on a sex podcast over the weekend. Call her daddy, which, by the way, is a sexual term in itself. Recent episodes, just 2 episodes ago, the topic was BJs, hall passes, and frat daddies. And I listened to some of that interview. A hall pass is what you give your significant other, which is a pass for them to have sex with people other than you, their spouse. So they used to call it swinging. Great class act over there. But this is Kamala Harris and the Call Her Daddy girl talking about tampons, which I guess had something to do with all this Tim Walz tampons in the boys' room stuff. Listen.
Daddy gang to put it in our TikTok.
Now, Mike, bang on the window if I need to dump anything, okay? Because I don't know. I didn't listen. I did listen to this. I don't think anything needs to be dumped, but hey, no, I just let me know.
Daddy gang to put it in our TikTok terms. I have seen girls on the street walk up to men and be like, "Do you know where a tampon goes? Do you know how many tampons we use? Do you even know how? Do you know what a X or Y or Z is of a part of our," and they don't know the answer.
I was the first vice president or president to ever, in office, go to a reproductive health care clinic.
Okay, I thought she was going to say use a tampon, but I think she's in menopause, so I don't think she needs tampons anymore. Okay, yeah, she went to an abortion clinic, class act, she should be proud. The thing about what this Call Her Daddy sex podcast host said to Kamala, that they do these videos, they go up to young guys on the street and they don't know what a tampon is, they don't know where it goes, and they can't identify the parts of a woman's private parts. They don't know what they are. Well, I do believe that because they're teaching these young guys to be gay, to be this gender, that gender, and everything else, and they're just not that heterosexual anymore. So it doesn't surprise me that they don't know. I remember many years ago, back in the 90s, there was a gay guy who was in his 40s. He was on the radio and doing a talk show. You guys remember Al Rantel? He was gay his whole life. And he never heard of a yeast infection before. I mean, he didn't know anything about the anatomy because he's gay. He said he had sex with a woman once in college, but he didn't like it. And he didn't know. So, yeah, you're right. The fact that you go up to guys on the street today that are in their 20s and they can't identify the private parts of a woman is because of what Kamala and all her people have been doing to young men. Making them women. Literally, sometimes. So that's believe me, my generation know all the answers to that, and the generations before mine, and they know where the tampons go. I don't know how many tampons a woman uses. I don't need to know that, but I know where they go, what they are, what they're for, and I can identify the parts of a woman. And I think most men can that are older than millennials. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Mr. Kenny from Palm Beach.
Hey, Kenny.
How you doing?
All right. How are you?
Good. You asked maybe for a list of accomplishments from Kamala.
Well, let me restate this. Kamala Harris on this sex podcast, Call Her Daddy. She asked her, "How can people trust you?" And then Kamala said, "Look at my accomplishments." So I'm challenging a Democrat to give us just one positive accomplishment of Kamala's.
Well, I'm not a Democrat, but I immediately thought of a comparison to Obama, who also had no accomplishments other than a community organizer. That was it before he climbed the senator to basically president.
Yes, you're correct.
It's like strikingly who they endorse when they have no background. It's just for the sake of diversity or color of skin. I'm not really sure.
Well, let's face it. Obama was the first non-white person, black person, to get the nomination of a major party. So because he was black, people voted for him. Even a lot of white people wanted to be a part of that. Kamala's running around saying, vote for me. I'm not white. I got a vagina. Vote for me. I'll be historic. I'll be the first president with a... Because of the 8 years of Obama, that's just... People aren't impressed by that anymore. It's no big deal.
Do you think that the left has always lost their moral compass, or do you think it's just more fashionable now for them to come out and broadcast it?
No, Democrats never had morals. They used to buy and sell black people in slavery. Right? The Democrats never had morals. They support abortion even still today. And, Kamala says, it's a lie that you could go in after the 9th month. Well, when does she put a limit on it? Here's the question. Kamala, would you support legislation that would not allow a woman to have an abortion the day before her due date? And then you walk her back, and if she says yes, which I don't think she would, you walk her back and find out what about a week before? What about a month before? At what point? You understand what I mean? They're not asking the right questions.
Well, purposely, of course.
Well, I don't think the call her daddy girl is a deep thinker.
Well, I mean, who they're trying to appeal to by doing that type of podcast to such a small fragment of people. I don't get it personally, but I don't want to get it. It kind of just annoys me.
I promise you that the podcast girl there, that she takes the Trump tax cuts, and she'd be shocked to know that Kamala is going to raise her taxes by allowing those to expire.
I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right, take care. Take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
The first thing I'll say is what you said on your podcast. When you have 47 people showing up at a rally, she's only desperate. She's got to try to get somebody.
Well, yeah, I talked about what he's talking about on my podcast last night. Kamala had a rally at a venue that holds 6,500 people in Flint, Michigan. Only 47 people showed up. Not 4,700, 47. So they bust some people in for seat fillers, but 47 people showed up. That is correct, to her Flint, Michigan rally over the weekend.
47, and how many are Secret Service or...
Press. Yes, exactly.
So she's desperate, man. She's trying to get somebody to show up for her to vote, but I think she knows it's all over, And then you're just talking about the abortion thing. I heard the knucklehead on Fox, and exactly like you said, they didn't ask him the question. They asked him, "Oh, what about late-term abortion?" And he goes off on doesn't answer.
You're talking about Shannon Bream with Tim. Yeah, Shannon Bream's interview was weak, and Shannon Bream thinks that she did some brilliant interview. She didn't ask any of the right questions or follow-ups. The question is, okay. Would you support legislation preventing a woman from having an abortion on her due date? What if it's her due date?
And we'll also say we leave it up to the doctor, and when we trust doctors and
really, like Dr. Mengele. Dr. Mengele, he was a doctor. What does that mean?
Yeah, I know. He comes up with the dumbest answers, and they let him get away with it. But that even Fox is no good. Fox, I'm surprised that.
Well, I'll tell you why. I'm not saying this is true of Shannon Bream because I don't know. But television is part of the entertainment media. I mean, you got a bunch of women up there that are conservative that have had abortions. So and a lot of these women, because they want to look good on TV. I'm not saying this is true of Shannon Bream, okay? But come on, they want to look good on TV, so they have abortions, and they've got guilt inside over it.
Something is. I think that Fox is saying, "Go easy on him, and that's exactly what's going on. But I don't know why. Everybody must realize that President Trump is so far ahead of everybody. There's, like you say, I don't understand how anybody can't love President Trump. The guy works hard. He's out there doing rallies every other day.
Fact is, most everybody does. It's only a small handful of people. Hey, Doug, appreciate the call. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll take our first break of the second hour and be right back. You me to hit it.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hey, it's Scott Shannon.
Sorry.
Daddy Gang to put it in our TikTok term.
Body.
Chris Eddy is a retired Air Force one-star general, a retired FBI intelligence leader.
I'm happy to answer a more specific question.
Male versus female.
There are medical procedures.
Okay. That the government has the power to make a decision about a man's body.
I thought you were asking about medical procedures that are unique to men.
I'll repeat the question. Can you think of any laws that give the government the power to make decisions about the male body?
I'm not thinking of any right now, Senator.
This decision about
can completely stop and reverse the signs and symptoms of menopause. No more mood swings, better sleep, and no more night sweats. Call Dr. Matez for a free consultation today at 561-320-8893. That's 561-320-8893.
Hey, my true oldies listeners, John Tish here with some intelligence for your retirement this time. When you're looking for a retirement advisor, you don't trust and experience are two big qualities to look for. And as it turns out, my friend Jupiter Joe Thomas possesses both of these. Whether you're in retirement or looking to retire, I want you to give local expert Joe Thomas a call. Here's the number, 561-743-0999. Or, simpler, you can go to JupiterJoe.com. Mention my name, John Tesh. You'll receive a free copy of Joe's book, Retirement Know-It-All. Great book. Call 561-743-0999. Or remember, JupiterJoe.com. JupiterJoe.com.
This is Steve Kane. I want to tell you about my favorite restaurant in all of South Florida, Wings Plus in Coral Springs. Wings just the way you like them. Plump, tender, and delicious, crispy on the outside, succulent on the inside. Everything homemade, nothing out of the can. Dozens of specialty sauces that will make your mouth water. Wings Plus, located in Coral Springs, a mile west of University on the south side of Sample Road.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 85.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world.
All right. Now, Slomin's is offering you a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your phone, just like mine, with the installation of your Slomin Shield. And this is a great offer, guys. If you've not taken advantage of it, I'm going to give you the number to Slomin's in just a moment. Write it down. Give them a call today. No matter where you're located, give them a call. Not only are they going to give you that free doorbell camera with the installation of your Slomin Shield, Slomin's is going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, a backup battery, and a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Slomin Shield. Give them a call, 1-833-283-5050, 1-833-283-5050. 1-833-283-5050. All right? We're back. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Bill from Sanford, Florida.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, I was never so proud of Trump and Butler. I mean, this guy, he gave a school in being presidential, and Kamala should have watched it. She would have learned a hell of a lot from his memorial to Corey and the other two. And
well, first off, the Butler rally, I'm not embarrassed to admit these things to you. When Trump came out, I was crying at that Butler rally on Saturday, and I don't think I was the only one that was teary-eyed.
Well, I was. I mean, he was just absolutely.
Well, Elon, when the richest African American in the world, also the richest man in the world, came up on stage, Elon Musk, he says, we have one president that can't walk up a flight of stairs. We have another one who gets shot and gets up and does a fist bump. And, that's true. Do you know the courage that it took President Trump to go there and stand in the spot where that never-Trumper shot him?
Well, his family had been terrified. I mean, just for the fact of revisiting Butler.
Oh, it was, and during that whole, it was an incredible rally in Butler over the weekend. But I was terrified the whole time because of what had happened. I got PTSD, and I'm just watching it. He's up there on stage, and he did something at the end that was so amazing and really a class act. Did you see the singer at the end that came up, the opera singer?
Well, yes, because you remember his remarks in the beginning was he was going to watch it from backstage, and he stayed on stage for the entire.
Now why do you think he did that?
Because he's presidential.
Well, I'll be more specific, and you'll agree with this. Okay, this incredible Italian opera singer sang those beautiful songs in Italian and in English, and those are some of my favorite songs in the world. Those two Italian songs, and if you go and listen to them in English, they're just as beautiful. President Trump stayed on stage. He said in his speech, after I'm done, he's going to come up and sing 3 or 4 songs. President Trump stayed on the stage while he sang them so people didn't leave, right? Because he knew people would leave if he would. So he stayed on stage so people wouldn't leave while the guy was singing, and that was at the end when he was done with his speech. It's the opposite of Kamala. They bring in singers at the beginning to get people to get there, and then when she comes out, they start leaving. And it was such a difference.
And I was telling my wife the same thing. That's the way that Kamala did it. And not only that, he paused his remarks for over half an hour for some woman that's being worked on by a doctor.
You go to these a lot of people have heat strokes and stuff because it's hot. You're cramped in with people, and this would happen during Obama speeches, and he would sit there and laugh. He thought he was like Tom Jones, like people were passing out because they just were in his presence. And Donald Trump stops and waits for them to be okay.
Yeah, Obama thought it was an accolade to him, and that's not it. There's someone sick in the audience,
and if have you seen any of the aerial photographs of that Butler rally on Saturday? I mean, the
100,000.
Oh, at least. I mean, it was so far back. It was like they couldn't even see the back of the crowd. And Elon Musk, he's the richest man in the world. Okay. The richest man in the world. Now sometimes that changes. There's him and a couple other guys. Depends on how the market is doing on a particular day and the value of Tesla or something. But he's the richest in general. Yeah, he's the richest man in the world. You have the richest man on the world who got up on stage and not only endorsed President Trump on stage again, he's wearing a MAGA hat, the dark MAGA hat. I have one of those. The dark MAGA hat. I take it on the cruise for formal night. He gets up there in a MAGA hat, the richest man in the world, and stresses the importance of having this massive turnout in a month to vote for Trump. That's some endorsement. Kamala's got, Bruce Springsteen. We've got the richest man in the world who sends rockets into space. He's got astronauts up there now, probably. I don't know. They'll be going again soon. It's amazing.
Remarks on the First and Second Amendment. I mean, that was unbelievable. He was fantastic.
Yeah, I appreciate the call. And you know, the Butler rally, the Back to Butler rally on Saturday was amazing. And what they did for Corey the firefighter, they had his firefighter coat there in the spot where he was shot by that Never Trumper. And make no mistake about it, he was shot by a Never Trumper. And look at how little we know about this guy. You know, and this golf course shooter, still, we know nothing. There's a connection between these two guys, both the golf course assassin in Florida and the Never Trumper in Pennsylvania, because both of them are in BlackRock videos. The Florida golf course shooter was in a video about Ukraine for BlackRock, and the Pennsylvania shooter was in a video with something to do with school teachers. So there's a connection between the two. And I'd like to know where the Florida shooter was on the day Trump got shot. And for all these jerks in this audience that say, well, Melania doesn't love him, she's not with him. The only two people I saw from the Trump family that were there was Eric and Laura Trump. And they came out before he did. I think that the Trump family are handling things much like the royal family in England. They don't congregate all together, except maybe in Fortress Mar-a-Lago, but they don't travel together because the Iranians are after them. These Never Trumpers are after them. Okay? And I thought that rally in Butler was the bravest thing I've ever seen a presidential candidate do in this country, or a president. Never seen anything like this. And you know what? No one else has either. And the media hate him for it. You know why the media are pissed off? Because he's alive. Face it. They're pissed off that he survived the assassination attempt. Come on. You can see it. Sonny Hostin on last week. But that took a lot of guts. I mean, I could hardly watch it. I was so nervous. Weren't you? Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Oh, by the way, don't forget, Medicare open enrollment is coming up. You want to call Debbie at I Will Advisors. No matter where you are in the state of Florida, Debbie Klatzoff at I Will Advisors can help you with your Medicare. She'll review it at no charge. Make sure you've got the right coverage so your doctors and prescriptions and specialists are all covered next year. Remember, open enrollment is the only time of year you can make changes to your existing Medicare policy. Her number, 954-753-8080. The Klatzoff family have been with the Steve Kane Show since 1993, helping Steve Kane Show listeners with their Medicare each and every year. 954-753-8080. If you call now and get an answering machine, leave your name and number, and Debbie will call you back. 954-753-8080. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're gonna really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show.
Your account, you know, this push. You write some things in the book that I didn't know. Your bank.
Forecast.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Michael Marone from the Hollywood Polling Weather Center. Today is Monday, October 7th, 2024. Degrees outside. As we go today, the temperatures are going to reach as high as 82 degrees. With rain expected throughout the whole day as Hurricane Milton starts to approach Florida. So make sure you keep an umbrella close by. Stay prepared.
I mean, I'll come in unless the wind's bad or something, but we won't know.
On the track like an hour ago.
Yeah.
So I know it's going to just keep flip-flopping until the energy gets here.
Oh, did it move south again?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. It might be Tampa.
Yeah.
Double check. Yeah, like right under it.
Yeah, Tampa looks like them.
Yep. Well, that's an hour ago.
Yeah, it went north again. Like we're at least me, I'm out of the cone. I don't know how far north it's going on this map, so I don't know if Palm Beach County's completely out of it yet. Yeah, we're not. Yeah, well, yeah.
It's gonna be 1 by the time it hits.
Mm-hmm. A 1?
Like by the time it gets.
Oh, they said it was going to be a 3 or 4 when it hit.
Well, like when it hits mid-Florida. Like
Oh yeah, when it hits though, it'll be like a 3.
Yeah, like when it hits like West Coast, yeah, it's definitely gonna be strong. It says it's gonna be that big. I'm assuming the Cuba's and stuff is gonna kill it down.
We'll be back shortly, guys. We'll be back shortly, guys. I'm putting the link into the live chat to Robert Allen Miltenberg's book, The Sound of Light. It's available free in Kindle Unlimited, but it's also available in regular Kindle and as paperback. And the regular Kindle, it's free in Kindle Unlimited. It's only $3 in regular Kindle. And the link is also in the description of the video. All right, if you'd like to pick it up. Robert Allen Miltenberg, he is in the chat all the time. He's a big supporter of the program. And I'm going to pin that link to the top of the chat. I thought I just did. Yes, it's pinned to the top of the chat. The link is also in the description of the video. The Sound of Light. It's a science fiction political book. It's also about music. All right, I'm coming back.
Call any lab test now at Boca at 561-237-5009. Any lab test now at Coral Springs number is 954-906-5983. And don't forget to mention that you heard about them on the radio.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 47 years of...
All right, welcome back. If you're just tuning in, you've missed a lot. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. I started in the first hour or so. Kamala Harris went on a sex podcast and embarrassed herself, but I think she's beyond embarrassment. If you have any thoughts on that, you're welcome to call in. Pretty disgusting, but Melania did an interview with Bartiromo. I'm going to play one clip of it. You know, I learned something about, I don't know if Melania mentions it in this clip, but she mentioned something I did not know. She mentioned a couple things I didn't know, but one of them was this. Do you know there was a charity, Melania went to a charity, she wanted to set up a scholarship program for foster children. Foster children have no family. And Melania went to this charity. She wanted to set up a scholarship for foster children. and the charity turned her down because of who her husband is. So foster kids from now and forever aren't going to benefit from this and get a college education because some never Trumper at the charity doesn't want Trump money? What a sicko. But then Melania shared something that is so sick, so twisted. I've heard of this happening to people like Laura Loomer and General Flynn, but I've never heard of it happening to a First Lady of the United States before. Listen to this. This is Melania over the weekend, interviewed by Maria Bartiromo.
Write some things in the book that I didn't know. Your bank canceling your account. You know, this pushback from so many areas of your life that you never saw before. But suddenly, the powers that be wanted to cancel you. What happened and how did that feel?
It happened already in the White House, and soon he announced for politics, but later on, more when we left the White House, when I established my own business. As you said, the bank suddenly informed me they will not be able to do business with me anymore. Also, I had...
Now, by the way, you know, this debanking thing, have you ever heard of this before? It's happened to Loomer, it's happened to General Flynn, and of course Mike Lindell, it's happened to him. But prior to this, have you ever heard of banks refusing to do business with people and forcing them to close out their accounts? And Melania Trump is a big fish client for a bank. It's a lot of money, right? Because she's a billionaireess. And there's a lot of prestige. Melania Trump banks here. Let me tell you, if I knew what bank Melania was using, or the president here in South Florida, I would go open up an account in that bank just because they use it, wouldn't you? But anyway, they debanked her. Listen, but back to it.
The powers that be wanted to cancel you. What happened and how did that feel?
It happened already in the White House, and soon he announced for politics, but later on, more when we left the White House, when I established my own business. As you said, the bank suddenly informed me they will not be able to do business with me anymore. Also, I had very prominent email distribution service provider just rapidly terminated my agreement. So suddenly, as well.
A bank closed out Melania's bank. This is a First Lady of the United States, people. Okay? A bank debanked her, and some internet company closed out her email? Have you ever heard of that happening before? Unless someone's like a sex offender, right? Have you ever heard of someone getting their email canceled?
So suddenly, as well as the university, I was all agreed that they will accept my donations for the foster students, and because of the board directors, they called back, they found out that it was me, they didn't, they said we cannot go on. And it's very, very sad because who suffered? They were children from foster community. They didn't have a scholarship that somebody will provide for them. They didn't want to do business with me because of political affiliation, my political beliefs. And, you know, that was one of them, one of the canceling project.
Has it changed, do you think, in the last few years at all?
I think some people got the courage and they said, like, they see it, what's going on, and they're not afraid to speak. But it's still going on. I think it's still cancel culture, and that trend, it's still going on.
You write some...
I mean, that's insane. By the way, that's in her book. They keep talking about this abortion thing, but not about her being debanked, not about her email being closed down. And this university, now we know a little more detail. A university wouldn't take her money because it's Trump money, Trump family money, she's a Trump, for a scholarship for foster kids. Let me tell you, imagine how difficult it is to be a foster child. Do we have any foster children out there? I've known some adults that were foster children. They've got no one to lean on. No one to lean on, and they wouldn't take the money for foster children scholarships because of who her husband is? What school is that? I hope it's not one of our Florida schools. Whoever those board members are, they should be fired. What they did is criminal. You know, that's what we're going up against in this country from the left. The Trump derangement syndrome, these people, luckily they're just a small group because, you know, the MAGA movement's so much larger than it ever was before. But this group of people that are never Trumpers, even though they're small, is a very sick, sad, twisted thing. Now, I got a letter, an actual typed letter from a listener. People do mail letters and things, and people, you don't think people send letters anymore, but I get them. And I got a letter from a listener named Patrice, and you'll know who you are, Patrice. Well, how many Patrices wrote me a letter? I mean, this is a physical letter. It's 2 pages long, and it's typed out, and it's to both me and Steve. So, but I'm just gonna read some of this, and I'm gonna read this because this is insane. But if somebody took the time to write a letter, do they even teach kids how to write letters anymore? Probably not. And actually, to type one up and it's in the perfect format. I haven't seen one like this in many years. But Patrice sent this, and you know who you are, sirs. I have sent you several letters requesting we have a meeting to discuss politics. You never reply. I am willing to meet you at the radio station and have a chat with you. Would you have the courage to do it? And then she's got a whole bunch of things here that she wants to talk about. One of the ones is, should the governor of California be arrested? I'm not going to go through the rest of it. And I would say, no, he should not be arrested, but the courage to do it. Okay, now here's the thing, Patrice. You know, you can reach me and Steve on the radio Monday through Friday. We take live calls, okay? And the calls are screenless. We don't sit around and have private meetings with people and debate and discuss all these things. I mean, there's a long list of things. I mentioned just the first one. We do this on the air, and you can call in on the air, okay? We don't invite people to the radio station and meet out in the lobby and sit down and have political roundtables. You know, the calls are screenless, and Friday is open phones. You can call in anytime Monday through Friday and get us. So, and this thing about replying, I didn't realize, am I supposed to reply to all the mail and correspondence we get here? I do read as much of, because we get a lot of email and DMs and stuff. Not a lot of written letters. But I read if somebody actually sends a written letter, I'm going to read it, because they went to the trouble. I read as many of the emails as possible and DMs. I respond to as many as I can, but you get too many to respond to all of them. But if you're upset, call us live on the air, Patrice, and we'll have a discussion. We're not meeting in the lobby of the radio station and having a sit down off the air. Very strange person. In fact, the idea that you would think we do such things makes me question whether or not I'd want to meet with you in person anyway, because you'd have to be a little, I think, mentally unbalanced to want to do something like that with someone that's on the air. All right, we're going to take our I want to first tell you, though, before we break, there's an incredible special at MyPillow going on. Remember I told you last week that the $25 extravaganza was ending last week? It's over. It's gone. I told you. It was a limited time. There's a new limited time offer going on right now, okay, on the MyPillow that started it all. You can get the standard MyPillow for just $14.88. Right, the standard MyPillow that started it all, just $14.88. And remember, I paid $65 for that pillow about a decade ago. when I first got it. Now, of course, this is with our promo code Kane at checkout. The standard MyPillow just $14.88. The queen size is just $18.88. And for just $19.88, you can get the king size MyPillow with our promo code Kane at checkout. I did not even know there was a king size, and I saw a photo of it. It's big. I asked my wife to order a couple of those king sizes for us. We've got the standard, we've got the queen, we've got the Giza, but we don't have a king size, and I'm looking forward to that. So my wife's going to order that for us today. But the standard MyPillow just $14.88. You can get the queen size for $18.88, and you can get the king size for just $19.88 with our promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, at checkout. It's free shipping on orders over $75. This is a great time to do some Christmas shopping. You can also order by phone, toll-free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, K-A-N-E. We'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Are you feeling safe and secure in your home? Unfortunately, millions of Americans are vulnerable to break-ins every year. But what if you can have peace of mind knowing that your home is protected 24/7? At Sloman's, we understand the importance of home security. That's why we're offering a free home security system with free professional installation. When you use our low-cost central station monitoring, our top-of-the-line systems are designed to detect intruders and alert authorities and give you real-time updates right to your smartphone. And with our state-of-the-art monitoring center, you'll have 24/7 protection from any threat. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your home and family and your valuables with Sloman's comprehensive home security solutions. Call 1-833-283-5050 today to schedule your free installation and start sleeping better tonight. Sloman's, protecting what matters most. Call 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050 now. At Sloman's, we understand the importance of home security.
Do you suffer from neuropathy? I did, until I went to Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in my hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance, muscle twitching have all but disappeared. Say goodbye to your neuropathy
You
symptoms.
guys have
Call
this,
Lighthouse Medical Center
the
for a
topic
free
every morning. The first thing you guys talk about is usually supposed to be the top story but today it was all about Trump. That's all we hear about Trump and how bad Trump is. So what I wanted to ask is, are you going to talk about what they're calling the first gentleman?
Kamala's been out there crushing it. She's been there for us. We've got 30 days left for the election. Kamala has been out.
And Saturday mornings at 7:30 a.m. to the Jupiter Joe Money Show, where we answer all kinds of questions about retirement right here on your True Oldies channel.
Hello, this is Mike at Friendly Tire. I've been in business 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires. I have many suppliers. Whatever car or truck you have, I can get you incredible deals on any tire. I also do tire repairs at very low prices. Give me a call. My number is 954-977-9445. I will give you a price over the phone on new and used tires. Again, my number is 954-977-9445. Thank you.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is...
All right, I'm looking out of the window of the radio studio here. It looks like nighttime outside, and the latest track with Milton. Again, I am not a meteorologist. I'm not a weatherman. I've just been through a lot of hurricanes. The latest track, it's moved a little further north. Where I live in Boca is completely out of the cone. I don't know how much of Palm Beach is out of the cone, but I know Boca's out of the cone, which is good for me. My neighbors that put up their shutters, I had a few of my neighbors put up their shutters yesterday, including people right across the street from me, which I thought was a little strange, but they did it. Now I guess they got to take them down. But the thing about the hurricane, I was talking about this at 6. we have listeners throughout the country, and we have a lot of listeners throughout the rest of the state of Florida. So we don't usually, when we're out of the Kona, like in at the radio station or where I live, we don't talk about it too much. But we have so many listeners in other parts of Florida now that those people on the West Coast, not only are they're going to get hit pretty hard by this hurricane, a lot of them got some bad weather last time, and I saw some of the debris piled up in front of people's houses from the last hurricane, and now this one, the debris is, that's a mess. So you got to, if you're in an evacuation zone and they tell you to leave, leave, okay? The people that you never hear from again are the ones that don't evacuate from evacuation zones, okay? And the main things you got to do is fill up your cars with gas. If you got a generator like I do, get gas. We used to have a lot of problems with gas after hurricanes. We don't really have that problem anymore. Rick Scott, who was the governor, he's our senator now, one of our senators, but he was the governor before DeSantis. The reason we had gas shortages in Florida after hurricanes is if the power was out, the gas stations couldn't pump gas. And Rick Scott set it up when he was governor that the gas stations have generators now to run the gas pumps if they lose power. So we don't have the gas, and there's some other things he did too, but we don't lose power and we don't have the gas shortages as much as we used to. You still can have them, but it's not as bad as it was years ago. But yesterday, I filled up my cars, but I also got 20 gallons of gas in 5-gallon drums for my generator, which I'll probably be just using to drive to work the next few weeks. I won't have to buy gas for a while, which will be nice. But anyway, okay. So I've been getting calls for the longest time from Democrats telling me that I'm a racist because I call Kamala Harris. They say I mispronounce her name. They say if you pronounce it any other way, but what is it? Kamala? Is it Kamala? That if you don't say Kamala, you're racist. I say Kamala, but if you don't say Kamala, is it Kamala? You're racist. Let me play this. I'll tell you who it is after.
We've got 30 days left for the election. Kamala has been out.
Comma. Did he say comma? What did he say?
Everyone, we've got 30 days left for the election. Kamala has been out.
Comma? Is this person a racist? Is it Kamala? I'm not sure what they tell us to pronounce it, but they say that if you don't say it that certain way, you're racist. And he just called her like comma or something.
Days left for the election. Kamala has been out.
Comma. Is this man a racist? His name is Doug Emhoff. He's Kamala's husband that was accused of slapping a woman across the face we were talking about last week. He has not pronounced her name in the non-racist way. So is Doug Emhoff a racist? Let's hear what else he has to say. I'm curious. Maybe it's because he has no lips. It's hard for him to say it that way. Can I call her comma? Would that be acceptable? Would that be not racist since Doug Emhoff calls her that?
We've got 30 days left for the election. Kamala has been out there crushing it. She's been there for us. We got to be there for her. So make sure everyone you know is registered. Get out to vote. Vote early if you can. Keep knocking on doors, sending those texts, doing everything you possibly can to make my wife, Kamala Harris, the next...
You said it again. Wait, how did he say her name again?
To make my wife, Kamala Harris...
Yeah, Kamala Harris. Now, to be consistent, Renee from Harlem and these jokers, they must believe that Doug Emhoff is a racist.
Doing everything you possibly can to make my wife, Kamala Harris, the next president of the United States.
Yes, and you're the first gentleman. Isn't he so masculine, that guy? My goodness. What they've done to men on the left. That story, you notice that story has disappeared. Megyn Kelly's been covering it a lot, but that story about the slap has totally disappeared. Kidding me? That story comes out. She goes on a sex podcast over the weekend. It just totally disappeared. Now, C-SPAN, though, they were forced, well, it came out on C-SPAN over the weekend. And, they screen calls pretty heavily on C-SPAN, but every once in a while, someone sneaks through. This is a caller from California calling C-SPAN over the weekend.
First of all, you guys have this, the topic every morning. The first thing you guys talk about was usually supposed to be the top story but today was all about Trump. That's all we hear about, Trump and how bad Trump is. So what I wanted to ask is, are you going to talk about what they're calling the first gentleman, Doug Emmerhoff, what they exposing him for is he got a nanny pregnant or something like that.
I think you might be referring to the Daily Mail story, and it's gotten coverage as well. This from page 2 of the Washington Times.
Now, this is, the reason I share this guy here, it's a technique he did. He hung up, I saw his hand move. He hung up on the guy. And then he mentions the story there about impregnating the girlfriend. And then he talks as if the guy's still there, even though he just hung up on him. But that's an old technique from cowardly radio personalities that take calls when it gets too hot for them. They hang up on the caller. The listeners don't know, and they're talking as if they're talking with the guy. Nobody knows. Then it's time to go to a break or something, or the next caller. It's an old tech, but I saw his arm move towards the board. But he made it worse for himself because he had the story. In fact, after that, they showed the story on the screen at C-SPAN, which they weren't going to do. So they had it on standby in case a caller brought it up. But, that caller, he sounded black to me. Does this guy, let me play some, does this guy sound black to you?
But today was all about Trump.
Yeah, he sounds black to me. There's no way to really know for sure, but he sounds black. And, and it's an interesting thing because we got another black guy who's woken up and been red-pilled and he knows what's going on. This is the nightmare of the left. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Nick in Baltimore.
Oh, hey, Nick.
Want to just throw something out there. I was watching Right Side Broadcasting, and in the bottom where they give you the headlines, and the prosecutors want to indefinitely delay the trial of the second shooter. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
They want to prosecute Trump right away, but they want to.
And it's been how long now? 3 weeks since they arrested the golf course shooter. We still do not know where he was staying here. And and I did my investigation. He was not behind those bushes for 12 hours. You could in a pink shirt. There's no way. Was he sitting in his car at the post office? Where's the video from the post office parking lot? I know they got him. And we don't know who he was staying with. We don't know how long he was here. I'd like to know where he was when the shooting happened in Butler because we got a connection between the two. We know nothing about that shooter.
You were the first one to mention that the two guys were connected.
Yeah, and that's not even being discussed through the Blackwater through the BlackRock videos.
Gross.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are the odds that they're both in BlackRock videos? What are the odds? Slim to none.
Oh, yeah. So this whole thing was, it's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
First guy to pick that up.
Yeah, and that should be a big topic. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call, Nick. And, as I was saying on Friday, no one, except me, has done that investigation showing where he was, where he was parked, where he was chased, and done his route. There's so many questions about this guy, none of which are even being asked by the media. It's like they're done covering the story. Do you know that there was a man got arrested for threatening the life of Judge Cannon, who was the judge in the documents case, but she's also the judge in the golf course assassin case. The story came out over the weekend. You had to really look for it. It wasn't really publicized. But a man was arrested for making death threats against Judge Cannon. Now, if you or someone you know is suffering from neuropathy, I don't have to tell you, it is living torture. Lighthouse Medical, they've been with us here on the Steve Kane Show for a couple of years. We found them out of necessity because of Steve's neuropathy. They have a treatment for neuropathy that works. It will rid you of your neuropathy symptoms just like it did Steve Kane. And you know, Steve had his treatment there over 2 years ago. Over 2 years ago. And his neuropathy symptoms, they're still gone. They have not returned. So it's not just a treatment for neuropathy symptoms that works. It lasts. Give them a call. Lighthouse Medical, their number, 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. Make sure you mention you heard about them on the radio so you can take advantage of the no-charge consultation. All right? I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane will be joining us after the top. This is The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 47 years on the radio. 2 hours down, 1 to go. We'll be right back after this. You there, Steve?
Yes.
All right, hold on.
And the daddy gang, but one of the biggest conversations in this year's election revolves around a woman's body.
Yep.
I want to take a moment, and can we try to think of any law
My broader question to you, I think, is about this misinformation. Do you think this is a time to put falsehoods aside, like the idea that FEMA funds are being redirected to migrants, which is...
Bang, what they mean by that... Okay, hold on. All right, the third hour has begun. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Steve Kane joining us. Hey, Steve. Hey. I just want to mention something before we get started. Someone during the break in our chat room, they're upset that people... they saw someone on an interview say that October 7th in Israel was worse than 9/11. And they didn't quite understand that. Israel is a tiny country, okay? Very small population. And when you hear them say worse than 9/11, what they mean by that is if you compare the percentage of the population of the lives lost on 9/11 and on October 7th in Israel, it was a much larger percentage of the Israeli population than 9/11 was. That's what they mean by that. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. Steve is here. Did you see anything over the weekend, Steve? That
A lot of stuff going on, but let's just dive in. To get an update. I didn't
on what?
mention the Post this morning. What's going on with the polls?
Trump's ahead in all of them. All of them. You know, so so he's doing well. There's no worries there. Now we have a major hurricane coming towards Florida, which has turned day into night outside. No, it's not. It's gone north again. Unless you've moved to Tampa and didn't tell me. Looks like it's going to hit Tampa. It moved. You're no longer in the cone. You're out of the cone. You're completely out of the cone. I'm out of the cone. You and I, our homes are out of the cone.
Complain about that.
Yeah, but if you're up in Tampa, watch out. But we've got this hurricane coming, and this is a bad one. And we've seen what's happened in North Carolina, and those people aren't getting help. And what we've learned from Kamala Harris and her time as vice president, you only get help if you vote Democrat, you're in a blue state, or you're an illegal. If you're MAGA, if you don't vote Democrat, if you're in this country legally and you're from a red state, no federal help for you. It's punishment. And a big story came out the other day that FEMA, Mayorkas said FEMA's out of money. Yeah, and it's pissing people off.
To finish the deal right here.
Yeah.
It takes its full impact.
Oh, it already has. It already has. And what happened is they used the FEMA money to set up illegals with their retirement plans around the country. So yesterday on Meet the Press, Kristen Welker had Tom Cotton on. And I want to tell you something about Kristen Welker, okay? She is such an insider. You guys have no idea about Kristen Welker, okay? She's the new hostess of Meet the Press. And she is so, I've pointed this out before, but I don't think it's commonly known. So I bring this up every few times when we talk about her because it's important. Kristen Welker, that hosts Meet the Press, her and her family are so tight with the Obamas that when Obama was president, Kristen Welker and her parents spent Christmas Eve night sleeping in the White House and spent Christmas morning with the Obamas in the White House. And their girls weren't going around smoking big fat doobies like they are now, okay? They were little girls. So Kristen Welker and her parents are so connected to the Obamas that the Obamas spent Christmas morning with her and her parents with their little girls in the White House. So if anybody thinks, she's got that job because she's some journalist, she's in bed with the Obamas. So Kristen Welker had Tom Cotton on yesterday on Meet the Press. They should change that name to Meet the Fake News is what that show should be called. And they've decided that it has been debunked, Steve, that FEMA money went to illegals. That's been debunked. Now, of course, no one's debunked it. They're just saying it was debunked. And saying it was debunked is enough for them to try to get a talking point going that it's been debunked. But listen to this exchange. This is Kristen Welker with Tom Cotton on Meet the Fake News yesterday.
Broader question to you, I think, is about this misinformation. Do you think this is a time to put falsehoods aside, like the idea that FEMA funds are being redirected to migrants, which is just not true?
Well, it is true that FEMA and the Department of Homeland Security have been spending billions of dollars on migrants. Now, I understand some people say they're separate funds, but we just passed a short-term spending bill. It's very common for the administration to come and ask for permission to move money between funds, especially to prepare for emergencies. And second, I would note that this administration seems to have no problem finding money when they want to spend it on their priorities. When they need hundreds of billions of dollars to pay off student loans for graduate students in gender studies programs, they somehow find it. When it's trying to get helicopters to deliver food and water and cellular service and life-saving medicine into these mountain valleys, they somehow can't seem to find the money.
Okay, so this new thing that they're doing, that's been debunked. No, it has not been debunked. And exactly, and saying something is debunked is not debunking it. And the reality of the situation is that they did spend the money on illegals, and it's pissed people off. And the problem they have is because of, Elon Musk, who was at the Return the Butler rally on Saturday, the richest man in the world. He's the richest man in the world, and he endorsed Trump, and he was at the rally on stage with President Trump on Saturday. Because he bought Twitter, the free flow of information is out there, and everyone knows that they spent the FEMA money on illegals, and they're pissed off about it. They're very pissed off about it. And you see, oh, and wait till this hurricane hits. Now, in Florida, this is a state that's competent, okay? So when hurricanes are coming and hurricanes hit, we don't rely on FEMA as much as other states because Florida, we have a football team named the Hurricanes. So hurricanes are just part of living in Florida. So Floridians are more prepared than in other states for hurricanes. So we don't, so we don't need FEMA as much. But the FEMA money was spent on the illegals. They've spent unlimited amounts of money on the illegals. Everyone knows this. And the impact that it's having on the vote is significant. Believe me, it's significant.
I just want to see, does the numbers change?
They've all changed in Trump's favor. They're in Trump's favor, and they've been in his favor for weeks, and they're more in his favor now. She's not winning in any of the polls. None of the ones that are new. Now maybe she could win a poll in California or something. But if in all the national polls, Trump is leading. There's no credible poll that's predicting the outcome any other way than Trump. Remember, on Friday, CNN, 70% chance Trump will win the Electoral College. 70%. That's CNN. Okay, so no, everything is in Trump's favor. In fact, Andrea Mitchell, who big Trump hater, she was on MSNBC over the weekend. Let me play this. If you're on hold, hang in there.
And I think they've got to double down on doing more interviews and serious interviews.
She's talking about Kamala when she says they.
Well, I can't do.
They've got to double down on doing more interviews and serious interviews, because what I'm hearing from Democratic and Republican business people and a lot of men, and she's got such a big problem with men. I think there's an undercount of the Trump vote. I think there is misogynation in all of this.
Misogynation, oh my goodness.
Black and white men, big problem, but also the business world. They don't think she is serious. They don't think she's a heavyweight.
Yeah, that's right. So she's got a problem with men, black men, all men, businessmen. There's no group of men. Now she blames Andrea Mitchell. Yeah, I mean, for her to, and then she said Trump voters are being underreported, underpolled. For Andrea Mitchell, she never meant a Democrat she wouldn't defend until now. I've never seen Andrea Mitchell talk that way on television about a Democrat a month before the election. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yep, you're on the air.
Oh, hey, it's Joan from Tampa Bay.
Oh, hey, you're preparing for the Hurricane Milton?
Yeah, but the thing is, from the last one, I had this huge limb from the oak tree on my roof, and I just asked FEMA for some help to remove it. Well, they didn't. They said nothing for you. My son was deployed with National Guard, doing search and rescue and stuff, and no help. Yesterday, a gentleman came by. He wanted to charge me $300 to take the damn thing off, but he only charged me $200 because I heckled him down. But I'm not staying here because I live in a 55. I'm 68 years old, so I live in a 55-plus community of manufactured homes, so I'm going to Lakeland. I got a hotel room for me and my son's fur babies, and we're going out.
How far away are you from the bay, from the water?
I'm about a 20-minute drive.
Yeah, that's too close.
Yeah, I know, so I'm leaving. That's why I'm going to Lakeland.
Good for you. You'll be inland. And you won't run out of food because that's where the Publix warehouse is, Lakeland.
I'm taking food in the cooler because I have a full stocked fridge, and I'm leaving tomorrow, and I'm coming back on Friday to see if I still have a house.
Well, that's good. All right, good luck. Good luck. 'Cause this one's going to be a bad one. I'm here to tell you, it's going to be a bad one. This Milton. We're lucky we're not on the cone, Steve. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Once, twice. Okay, that's it. You know, I'm gonna say this. This is something Steve will be happy. I'm gonna check and find out who that was. Al the John, if that was you, you're banned for life from this program. Call in again. I know you're going through some type of mental break because of what you were doing that I busted you on last week. But if that was you, Liberal Al, your voice. If it was you, because I'm gonna chat. Like, I will find out. Believe me, yes. The answer is yes. I usually don't go to such lengths, but I'll find out. And if that was you, Liberal Al, your voice will never be heard on this program again. In fact, if that was you and we do that and you get through, as soon as I know it's you, I will hang up and hit the dump button and no one will even know that you called and you won't even be referenced. But I will check. All right, we're going to take our first break of the last hour. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be back after this.
4 men arrested for allegedly beating a woman.
Be right back.
The greatest hits of the 60s and 70s are back on the radio right after 10 a.m. this morning. Check it out on South Florida's True Oldies channel right here.
Hey there, it's Brian Craig. You've heard me tell you about how Dr. Appleton has rid me of pain with his laser away pain treatment. Shoulder injuries, arthritis, knee pain, all gone, and more. But don't just take my word for it. Monica called me live on the radio to tell me how Dr. Appleton rid her of pain.
My name is Monica. I'm from Boca. I'm calling because several weeks ago I had a lot of pain on my knees, and I went to see Dr. Appleton. He released me from my knee pains. I can walk. And this week I went to see him. I had excruciating pain on my hand, and I had a treatment. And I just want to say out there to everyone, it works. It really works. I am pain-free from my hand. He's amazing. Friendly staff. He's wonderful. And I highly recommend him. And I thank you so much for the recommendation. I'm very grateful.
Call Dr. Appleton right now and say bye-bye to your pain, too. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. Online, AppletonCairo.com.
The Greater South Florida Chamber of Commerce has fantastic free-to-attend events all year long. Join us for their next great expo in your area.
Coming up next, it's their Health Fair, City Festival, and Business Expo. A day jam-packed full of health tips, city fun, and business showcases. Friday, October 11th. At Martin's Community Center in Pompano Beach. Movies will be on hand from 11 to 1. We'll see you there.
Learn more and see a full list of events at GreaterSouthFloridaChamber.com.
Brian Craig here. Our 6th annual cruise is coming up, and you're all invited. This time, we're sailing for 7 nights on Celebrity Cruise Line's newest ship, the Ascent, to Puerto Plata, St. Thomas, and St. Martin. We set sail March 30th. We have private shore excursions, private cocktail parties, group activities. We're going to go to the shows together and much, much more. Call in at Cruise and Travel Depot right now. 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. And online at cruisingdepot.com to make your reservation and lock in our private group rate. Nothing comes close to Celebrity Cruises.
And now a message from Scott from CutMyKilowatts.com.
This is Scott from CutMyKilowatts.com. I'm back. Dog days of summer are upon us. Your AC is struggling, running constantly, trying to hold the temperature. Maybe your electric bill has gone up, even double. Radiant Barrier is the cure. Stop the heat gain, lowering the temperatures in the attic up to 40 degrees, cutting the FPL bills up to 40%. Dog days of summer sales, 50% on Radiant Barrier and insulation removal, rat proofing. We even do AC ducts in the heat of the summer. Act now and get $500 off Radiant Barrier over 2,000 square feet and $1,000 off over 4,000 square feet, plus a 30% federal tax credit. So call now, 954-939-1500 to save big. Call 954-939-1500 and talk to the owner, Scott. That's 954-939-1500 or CutMyKilowatts.com. Estimates given on the phone, work done in days, not weeks, easier than ordering a pizza.
When it comes to dental work, there's no one better than Dr. Goodette Brighton Dental. But don't just take my word for it. This is Richie the bus driver. He called in on the air to share his experience with Dr. Gupta.
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie, Dr. Gupta. I go 139 miles to this guy. I had a broken tooth. He fixed it. It was supposed to be kept for
All right, we're back. 19 minutes after the hour. I got bad news for you, Steve. That was not Liberal Al. He didn't get the lifetime ban yet. I know you were rooting for that. I know you were rooting for it. Oh, man, I got to tell you, though, Steve, even though we're out of the cone, the weather is awful. I don't know what it's like where you're at, because you're pretty far south from me. But I'm in Palm Beach Gardens up here, right? So I'm like on the borderline, right at the northern tip of Palm Beach County, and it looks like nighttime, and it is pouring down rain. If you don't have to go to work today, stay home. I mean, I'm not even going to take 95 of the Turnpike home. Yeah, well, yeah, I know, right next to your bedroom. I'm talking to the listening audience. People have to leave their house. But I'm not even going to take 95 or the Turnpike home today. It's just the weather's too bad. I don't want to be on that business. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. 1-888-465-2631.
Bring up something that I saw. It was on Fox TV. All night. I fall asleep to the television. And sometimes as I'm drifting off into the Netherlands, I come up with a story that is only half there because I was half asleep when I heard it. But it has something to do with show on MSNBC where they invited a bunch of people who used to work for Trump at the White House that turned on him after they left.
Yeah, they got they got a bunch of people over there like that. Yeah.
And they set the show up on, if I understand it correctly, on MSNBC. And when they went to the guests to ask them to talk about it, they all had switched their business.
No, that's called you were dreaming. They switched their positions and did what?
They all said they were voting for Trump.
No, that was you heard part of something and then you turned it into a fantasy. There was one guy that they had on. He was in a panel with Peter Navarro, who loves Trump. Peter Navarro went to prison for Trump, but they had a guy who worked for Trump who became a never Trumper to come on to bash Trump, and this one guy on the interview said that he's voting for Trump. Well,
only one person.
Correct. It wasn't a panel. There was a panel there in shock, and they were pissed. Yeah. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian.
Hi, Brian. Hi, Steve.
What's the weather look like in Deerfield right now?
And we're going to get a lot of rain. It looks like the calling.
Yes, I know.
We're very fortunate. First, I did see that show. Peter Navarro. He's a warrior. He's fantastic. This rally we saw on was a Saturday from Butler, Pennsylvania. I mean, that was incredible. That was incredible. And Kamala's pulling 47 people at that rally.
But Kamala, this is a true story. Okay, if you listen to my podcast, I'll get into more detail on my podcast that I uploaded last night. By the way, the Brian Craig Show podcast on all podcast platforms, including Spotify. Kamala Harris had a rally at a venue in Flint, Michigan that holds 6,500 people. Only 47 showed up. Not 4,700, 40 plus 7. 47 people. They did go and bring some people in by some buses because they were in a panic. But only 47 people drove themselves there to go to that rally. And Butler, the conservative estimates are 100,000. And there were the only buses in Butler were the ones that they put up as a barrier to stop assassins.
What are all these things I read that the key states that they're all within the margin of error?
There's lies.
Yeah.
Lies.
Well, TV. Everyone's 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. Did we get a brief insight into what this administration will be when you have the dynamic duo of Donald Trump and Elon Musk working together? Look how quickly they got the Starlink cranked up for these people who are desperate.
Oh.
This is a tremendous combination. Tremendous.
Trump was the one who did all that. I mean, the help started arriving after Trump picked up the phone and called Elon.
Right.
And
right.
That one person turned everything around up there, and it was Trump. And
yes.
What a humiliation for Kamala. They didn't even talk to any of the survivors. They kept
I think a lot of people. I think a lot of people have a lot of trust in Elon Musk too. And when he said that FEMA was keeping the helicopters from coming in and helping these people, and that they believe him. I do.
Well, and the thing about Elon Musk at the Trump rally, this is pretty significant. It was a little strange to see him there because you don't normally see Elon Musk at a political rally. Elon Musk is the richest man in the world. He goes up on stage with Trump and Butler wearing a MAGA hat, and pleading with people. And you got to understand something about Elon Musk. He's got a lot of businesses, but his two primary businesses are SpaceX and Tesla. SpaceX and Tesla, both of them, are reliant on the federal government to make happen, especially SpaceX, right? And Elon Musk is opposing the party that's in power right now, that's running for re-election, and by endorsing Trump. He is the richest man in the world because he's self-made pretty much, and the risk that he would be taking, because he would lose the SpaceX contracts and he'd lose the deals on Tesla too from the federal government if Kamala was reelected after doing this. So that's a poll in itself.
Absolutely. Ryan, I think maybe we may underclaim, but we have an electorate now that isn't just upset. We have an electorate now that's highly motivated and very angry. Very angry. And this FEMA thing with the $750 for our fellow American citizens, I don't think people are going to forget that.
And look, and now we find out over the weekend, not just that did they give all the FEMA money to the illegals, Kamala gave unlimited funds to Lebanon, right? To rebuild Lebanon. And in North Carolina, but she did go on this sex podcast over the weekend, Call Her Daddy, and that's going to move the needle, they think.
Oh, yeah, really. I tell you what, there's money for everybody except for the American citizen.
Obama's doing time for them, right?
There's another one. I think trouble began with his administration. It's just kind of filtered right through since then. And this whole thing, I remember when he said in that speech, when he said we may have to have a couple changes here. I think this is what he's been talking about, this Marxism we got running this country now. It is great.
I just want to clarify one thing. They're bringing their last resort, their desperate move is to bring Obama in to try to save the day. My question is Obama already here in Florida?
I haven't heard about him coming to Florida. They're bringing Obama to Florida? Well, why? That's a waste of time.
They're bringing him into town?
Why? Well, Florida's going for Trump no matter what. Why would would Obama waste time coming to Florida for Kamala? There's no chance. She has no chance of winning Florida. All right, hey, listen, we got to run for our break, but thank you for the call. All right, we'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. South Florida's #1 choice for same-day AC service and installation. Here's your oldies forecast.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Michael Marone from the All Year Cooling Weather Center. Today is Monday, October 7th, 2024, and right now it's 75 degrees outside. As we go throughout the day, though, temperatures are going to reach as high as 82 degrees, with rain expected throughout the whole day as Hurricane Milton starts to approach Florida. So make sure you keep an umbrella close by, stay prepared, stay dry, and have a wonderful, safe start to your Monday.
Weather brought to you by All Year Cooling. Enjoy free AC replacement estimates along with same-day service and installation. Visit allyearcooling.com to schedule your service today. And remember, the All Year family is here to serve your family all year long.
And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Turnpike northbound slow from Lake Worth Road and past the Beeline Highway. 95 north and south stop and go delays from PGA Boulevard past Forest Hill Boulevard. Is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance can protect your small business with over 30 coverage options and easy-to-use mobile app, personalized discounts, and more. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Discounts, coverage selections, are available in all states or situations. That's Traffic. I'm Dory Don.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. The poker room at PBKC is open every day with 65 tables of action, including cash games, high hands, Mega Bad beat jackpots, and exciting tournaments. Bet small and win big with table games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em or 3-card poker with a $5 minimum 7 days a week. PBKC is also your best bet for exciting OTB action from Keeneland, Laurel, Santa Anita, and more. For more info, go to pbkennelclub.com.
Brian Craig here. If you're a homeowner, business owner, or with a homeowners association and your roof is old or compromised, you need to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting for the AAA credit rating. And bonded up to $10 million, Laporta Contracting doesn't need a large deposit like those other contractors do. Typical deposits other contractors want are 1/3 of the contract. If your job is $30,000, that's a $10,000 deposit. If your job is $300,000, that's $100,000.
Oh my goodness. The parking lot is flooded big time.
If they need money for the materials, they don't have credit with the suppliers, and that spells bad news for the homeowner or HOA. Tom Laporta is honest, knowledgeable, and reliable, and he'll never sell you a roof you don't need. Laporta Contracting has been in the roofing and contracting business since 1988, and his services cover the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. Tom Laporta can handle any type of roofing job too: residential roofing and repair, commercial roofs, schools, municipal buildings, office buildings, emergency repairs. If it's roofing, Tom Laporta can do it. Call Tom Laporta right now on his cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaContracting.com.
Hi, I'm Sloan Smith. We love our Florida sunshine, but a hot house? Definitely not. At All Year, we offer same-day AC service and installation. Need to stay cool? Yes, all year. Need help today? Yes, all year. Zero down financing? Yes, all year. We're South Florida's #1 for comfort because our family is serving your family all year. Call us today at 833 all year. That's 833 all year.
Men, just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to feel old. At the Bio Station, Wesley, expert in hormone replacement therapy, is here to help you reclaim your youth. Hormone replacement therapy is all natural and can restore your hormones to where they were in your 20s. You'll feel younger, have more energy, and even get your sex drive back. And for women, hormone replacement pellet therapy can completely stop and reverse the signs and symptoms of menopause. Better sleep and no more night sweats. Talk to Matetis for a free consultation today at 561-320-8893. That's 561-320-8893.
Alton Insurance Group in Margate would like to recognize and salute our veterans and local men and women in uniform. Let's remember them with our thoughts, prayers, and especially letters and packages from home. Courtesy of Alton Insurance Group, Medicare Supplement Specialist for 38 years. Call 954-970-4760 or visit them online at altongroup.com. John Alton of Alton Insurance Group cares about your health and welfare.
Do you suffer from neuropathy? I did, until I went to Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in my hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance, muscle twitching have all but disappeared. Say goodbye to your neuropathy symptoms. Call Lighthouse Medical Center for a free consultation. 754-222-6642.
Have you put off buying new tires because you thought they were too expensive? Find friendly prices at Friendly Tire in Margate on both new and used tires.
Oh my
New
goodness.
tires as low as $70 a tire. That's out the door and on the road because Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire or mount the tire. They have thousands of used tires in stock too, starting at just $30. Call for a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Connie.
All right, we're back. It is 34 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane is here. Okay, so Kamala went on this sex podcast over the weekend and talked about important things like tampons and such. Meanwhile, some of her dreamers are at work. You know those Kamala dreamers, the illegals? This is a story out of Texas. 4 of Kamala Harris's Venezuelan dreamers in the news.
Men arrested for allegedly beating a woman, tying her up, and robbing her inside her northwest Dallas home on September 21st are believed to be connected to a Venezuelan gang, according to newly obtained arrest warrants. The robbery was reported by a woman who neighbors say lives alone at a home near the Dallas North Tollway and Lover's Lane. The woman told police she was approached as she got out of her vehicle and forced into her home at gunpoint. She was hit on her head with a gun and tied up. The suspects used Google Translate to communicate. The men threatened to cut off her fingers if she did not cooperate. They stole $75,000 worth of jewelry and more. A fingerprint on a wooden coin box, however, led police to Manuel Hernandez, who coincidentally was booked by Colleyville police just 2 days earlier and released the day before the robbery. The 28-year-old had a defective brake light, no driver's license, no insurance. The vehicle was not registered, and he was allegedly in possession of drug paraphernalia.
Plus, he's in the country illegally.
So Dallas police used that info to locate Hernandez at his apartment in Hearst. During an interview with Dallas police, court documents say Hernandez admitted to being involved in the robbery and gave names of 4 others involved, who he says are part of a criminal street gang known as El Anti-Tren. Of those men, 3 were arrested following a SWAT standoff at an Irving apartment complex Thursday.
I mean, you know, what positive benefit have these illegals brought to this country, Steve? I mean, my goodness. You know, the only thing I could think of is they're trying to destroy the country, the Democrats. You know, these
people are going to end up voting, if not.
You think Hernandez, who's threatening to cut women's fingers off, is a voter?
Setup, which includes people on the highest levels on them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little more long-term than that, okay? This is the thing, okay? All of us are descendant of immigrants from some point in time, even Indians, right? The Indians, the Native Americans, their ancestors, they say, came over the land. But none of it, you know, like your family's from Poland. I don't know where the hell my family's from. My mom's adopted. But we don't speak those languages or anything else. What they're doing now is different. What's going on now is the United States is being colonized. We're being colonized. And this is what I mean. They're bringing these illegals here, and they're setting them up in pockets where they don't assimilate. Minnesota, that's the Somalian colony, as an example, right? Ohio, Springfield, Ohio, that's one of the Haitian colonies, right? And you know, and this is what's going on around the country. And all they need to do, in exchange for being set up in this retirement plan, you know, like we got a call from the lady in Tampa, can't get FEMA help. She lives in a over 50 community. That's a retirement community. These colonies are retirement communities of illegals, and all they need to do is have babies. This is all Obama's doing. And a lot of people don't like to say this because they think it sounds like something terrible. It is terrible, but they think it sounds terrible to say it. They're trying to get rid of the white majority in the country. The Democrats believe that what is, you know, remember Rush Limbaugh used to say, all Democrats care about is power, 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 power. They now believe, the Democrats, that the reason that they're not in power, they're losing power, they're not gaining power, they're going to lose this election, is because there's too many white people. So if they can bring as many illegals here as they can from all over the world, and and on top of just the millions they're bringing here, they have babies, 5 years, 10 years, the whites will be the minority, and then they think they'll be able to swoop in and have total control. That's what their plan is, the replacement theory. Well, it's in the long term. What they're doing is they're involved. These anti-colonialists are involved in a colonization of the United States by foreign people that aren't assimilating to change the population demographic. That's what they're doing. It's already happened in England. England is lost. It's now a Muslim country officially, pretty much. All right, let's go to the phones. Our number 1-888-465-2631. But I just want to say though, it's raining like crazy here in South Florida. And if you're hit by this hurricane in other parts of Florida, no matter where you are in Florida, if you have a leak in your roof or you need a roof replacement or a roof repair, call Tom Laporta. I'm going to give his number, and you really should write this down and put it on the refrigerator in case you lose the internet or something with the storm. This is Tom Laporta's cell phone. His response time is amazingly fast. When we had those hurricanes on the Gulf Coast a year or two ago, he did a lot of great work for our listeners over on the Gulf Coast.
Show listener, they're swamped with business in this disaster weather situation. But Tom will put Steve Kane listeners to the front of the line. Just tell them you listen to Steve's show. That you also want to bear in mind is, I had Tom do work for us on our roof, and he did some other stuff too. The important thing to remember is he's more than just in the roofing business. If it has to do with anything with contracting, call Tom. He will get to you right away and make sure you have a smile on your face when you're finished dealing with him. He's a super gentleman.
Yeah, and here's his cell phone number, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. That's 954-604-4602. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, the raining cats and dogs here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was.
So what? How are you preparing for the hurricane, Al? Yeah, that's what I thought. Huh? Yeah. All right, you're back, Al. What?
My dog's name is Athena.
Okay. Are you okay? I'm starting to worry about you. You're
okay.
No, he's really going down the tubes. Why'd you? Well, that's true. What's on your mind today, Al? Why'd you call us?
Well, I'm enjoying my drink with
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You don't have anything that Al, lines,
professional comic.
Well, a lot of times when people are drunk or high, they think what they're saying is funny. You didn't deny being drunk though. All right. Oh my goodness. No, there's something's happened to that guy, because in the last few weeks there's been a steady decline in his coherence. I mean, there's something has happened with him, because he's not the same person he was just even a couple months back. Something's happened to that guy, and he did not deny that he was drunk. He said he's not high. He didn't say he wasn't drunk. So it could be as simple as he's on the sauce. All right, listen, we're going to take our last break of the day, and when we come back, there's much more to talk about. 1-888-465-2631 is our number. 1-888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right.
All right, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca Raton with our first look at gold, silver, and the other precious metals for the week. William Youngerman, how are the metals starting the week off?
Well, starting the week off a little bit lower. This morning, Friday, we saw gold trade in a pretty big range of $2,631 all the way up to $2,671 before falling back down to $2,653.30, which was down $2.20 on Friday. Silver was up 17 cents on Friday, closing out the week at $32.15 the ounce. It did get up to $33 at one point on Friday. Platinum down $3 Friday, closing at $9.89, and palladium closed up $6 at $9.98. Overnight, we've seen gold trading in a range of $26.39 on the low, all the way up to $26.60. Right now, we're at $26.43.50. That's down $9.80. Silver down 61 cents at $31.55 the ounce. Platinum down $14 at $9.75, and palladium up $2 at $1,000. So pulling back a little bit, lower end of our trading ranges, and giving us a little opportunity to how long that lasts.
Absolutely. You were mentioning a couple weeks ago that 90% silver was looking good. Is that still true? Is it a good buy right now?
Well, a great buy at just $1 over the spot price of silver for 90%. That's great value.
Oh man, that is. I mean, that's almost what we used to get when it was in circulation. I mean, that's really good. That's really good. Listen, William Youngman opens up at 10 a.m. His number 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. You can stop in. His address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road on the first floor of the Bank of America building. And you can find both his phone number and address on his website, WilliamYoungerman.com. That's WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, we'll be right back.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian Steves here. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Sarasota, how are you?
Hey, Jack, you preparing for the hurricane?
Oh, yeah, we're out of here. We're monitoring it.
We are out of here. You're abandoning. Where are you going?
Well, we're gonna go somewhere safe.
Which is where from Sarasota? Where's safe? Where are you going?
Oh my gosh, nowhere in Florida. I mean, we'll probably pack it up and.
Where would you go? Where would you go?
Anywhere north of the storm.
What road would you take to go north of Sarasota? I'm curious.
Well, I mean, you've got 98. You've got some of the roads on the east coast of Florida.
What's the main road when you're going north out of Sarasota? What's that main road people take to Tampa?
To Tampa? You mean I-70?
There you go. Okay, just curious. So where are you going to go? You're going to escape. And when you say we, who's we?
Me and my family.
Okay, and but you're not leaving yet.
We are waiting until either this evening or closer because.
Well, good luck to you. Good luck to you. So what's on your mind today?
It's I'm just kind of calling in. I haven't even paid attention to the show.
Of course, I know.
Look at the models and everything.
You probably didn't even call me. The phone just fell on the floor and dialed, I'm sure. But with all that being said, you picked up the phone and called. Why'd you call?
Just to pray. Pray for everybody. Everyone as an American should care about everybody else.
Well, and of course, who would you rather have protecting you and your family after a storm? Kamala Harris or Donald Trump?
Well, someone who...
I didn't ask about a generic third person. I gave you two choices. The hurricane is hit your family's neighborhood, right? Who do you want to come and help you? Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, and why?
I believe that someone who would protect me would be someone who would believe in climate change.
Climate change and believes that, what is it, a faith, like a religion? I didn't ask you about climate change. Listen, you're in Sarasota, and I did a little quizzing. You know the roads. So I'll give you credit. You're on the West Coast. I know. I don't need all that stuff to fill time and run out the clock. The hurricane is hit, and this one's going to be bad. It's going to hit the coast at a Cat 3 right now. It could change. It could be more. It could be less. Right now they're saying a Category 3, and that's sustained winds, which means you could have wind gusts of 4 or 5, right? So Sarasota, Tampa, hit hard, wiped out. You've got two choices to come to town. Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. Which one do you think would help you the most after a hurricane devastates your town?
Can I answer your question before you cut me off? someone who doesn't want to cut the funding.
No, that's not one of the choices. You've already said it. You've already said it every time I've asked. You just can't verbalize it. Trump. You would want Trump. I didn't give you a third choice.
Someone who doesn't want funding to the Republican Party.
I didn't ask you that. Why can't you just say what you know is the truth? Trump. Here, North Carolina gets hit. Communications are shut down. He picks up the phone. Elon Musk has the internet running. Kamala goes on a sex podcast where they talk about BJs.
Brian, are you going to let me talk? No.
No, eventually I'm going to let you go, but you've been non-responsive.
I've been responding to you.
No, I gave you won't admit.
That believes in.
I know. I support a candidate who believes in life, liberty, and the pursuit of liberal crap. I understand that. But that wasn't a choice. And if you were only a man that had some testicles, okay, you would tell what's on your mind. You've answered the question. The answer is, excuse me, Sarasota. I'm not beating him up. He's being evasive, Steve.
For saying that. I'm in to say, pray for everybody.
No. Slow down. This is not open phones, okay? Open phones is Friday. I gave you a two-person... What?
Being such a jerk. Why are you being such a jerk?
Listen, you were calling me... I know. You were calling... Yes. Okay. I've been called worse. No. I know. Oh, the victim. Get the... Mike, do you have the violin back there? Can you bring the violin? Yeah, but and I want your home to be there too. Yes, I've been through many hurricanes. Yes. I don't want to hear your story to run out the clock. You're not going to get away and run out the clock. We have a major... Stop talking for a second. Pray in silence for a moment. We have a major hurricane hitting the west coast of Florida. I asked you a simple question that you think you evaded, but you answered clearly. I said, after the storm devastates the west coast of Florida, which God willing it will not, who would you rather have come and save your community? Right? Kamala or Trump? And you didn't say either. You started talking about all kinds of liberal gobbledygook, which means that you would rather have Trump come to town, but you can't say it.
Matter right now. Trump's not the president.
Oh, really? Tell that to North Carolina, right? Trump gave $25 million of his own money. Plus, he raised millions through Samaritan's Purse for North Carolina. What's Kamala done?
Kamala is the vice president.
Yeah, but she can walk into the president's office. Donald Trump is given $25 million of his own money to North Carolina. He got the internet running with Elon. He got millions through Samaritan's Purse. What is one thing Kamala's done for North Carolina?
When FEMA's funding gets cut by Republicans...
No one's cutting the FEMA funding. Oh, my goodness. All right, now before we go back to the phones, oh, my goodness. See, even he knows Trump is the guy you want. I want to tell everyone about Angel Water, which I'm drinking right now, Steve. Oh, man. Angel Water is absolutely amazing. They've got an incredible offer for listeners of our radio station, which I'm going to tell you about in a moment. I've had Angel Water, it'll be 2 weeks tomorrow. 2 weeks tomorrow. And I got to tell you, all the water in my home is filtered by the Angel Water system before it enters my home. And my clothes, these clothes I'm wearing right now, because the water that is also filtered that goes through my washing machine, my clothes have been washed with Angel Water. And the clothes, they feel like new. This shirt is not, these pants are like years old. This shirt has been washed so many times, and it feels like the day I got it. Okay, because, and the pants too, which I'm really shocked, are like brand new. And my pants feel like I washed these myself. I didn't put fabric softener in. The pants and the shirt I'm wearing feel like they've been washed with fabric softener when they haven't, because the Angel Water is so good. And I'll tell you this, all the water in the house not only is filtered, it tastes so great. It tastes like Fiji water. The water in my showers also, of course, like all the rest of the water in the house, goes through the Angel water filtration system. And my wife and I have both noticed how our skin feels like it's been moisturized when we get out of the shower just because the water is so clean. You'll be healthier. You'll feel healthier. You'll never buy bottled water again for your home. You'll also extend the life of all your appliances that use water, your washing machine, your water tank, your dishwasher. Any appliance that uses water will have its life extended because it doesn't have all those chemicals in it that eat away at your appliances. The Angel Water system also takes out all those forever chemicals that are most dangerous in your water right now, according to the EPA. Give Angel Water a call. Rocky will come out and test your water like he tested mine, and you'll find out what you and your family have been drinking, and you're not going to like it. But if you're like me, you were drinking poison. You just didn't know it. Here's their number, 561-899-6585. 561-899-6585. That's 561-899-6585. I wish you could feel my shirt, Steve. It feels so soft. Give Angel Water a call. And by the way, that water testing is at no charge. All right, let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello, you're on the air.
Stephen Bryan, good morning. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ.
JJ, what's up?
Hey. Well, I was just thinking about possibly Kamala Akbar, Aaron Gold-Braless' new career here on the porn talk show. I mean, it's insane. She needs to, check the temperature in the room. I think they have some of the dumbest people on the planet working, but they actually believe this stuff. I mean, but you can only push this. You can only push stupidity so far. I mean, this is...
Wait, you talking about the last caller? I mean, you heard that guy.
Well, actually, I was getting my dog out of a situation.
You missed the last caller? Oh, my goodness.
Wait a minute. Not all of it.
Okay.
Maybe 10, 15 seconds.
Okay. All right.
Couldn't decide that Trump would be the one to...
He knew.
No, that guy, he knew. But listen, the Democratic Party is the party of, drag queen story time for third graders.
That's true.
I think they got wrong was that it should have been a porn star drag queen, and it should have been first graders. Communism will work if they do it. This is the insanity. They just need more jackboots, more soy, more brainwash.
I would agree. You're right on the money. Listen, we're short on time, but I appreciate the call. Take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Ford, calling from Tampa Bay.
Hey, you prepared for the storm, Ford?
Yeah, I'm best I can in my 50-year-old little bungalow.
Bungalow? Oh, my goodness.
Vac zone, so...
Okay.
The shelter's in walking distance, less than a quarter mile, one of the county shelters, which they have not opened yet. All the buses are free. I got plenty of canned goods and batteries.
Okay, you're all prepared. So what's on your mind?
I'm just wondering, this might be the time when a tree will fall on my house.
Yeah, okay, that's hilarious. You're on the air. Oh, my goodness. I think he's drinking the beer again, Steve. Oh, my goodness. That's the board op that drank all our beer during the hurricane?
Little soft water that you're pushing. So, a couple of seconds, but I think the one gentleman was referring to...
What did you say? What did you say, Tom? You only have 2 brain cells?
There's only going to be, Donald Trump and Harris, right? Who's going to come save you? He was trying to push the issue on Donald Trump took us out of what?
What?
VA Climate Summit?
The VA Climate Summit? The Veterans Administration had a climate summit? Do you mean the key? Do you mean the Paris? You mean the Paris Climate Summit?
Yes, there you go. Thank you, Brian, because you know everything.
So this is amazing. This is amazing. Hold on, Tom. Hold on. No. I'm so glad you called. This is amazing. So you mean to tell me that if Trump would have signed off on that Paris Climate Accords, which is what you're trying to say, that this Hurricane Milton wouldn't exist? That the Paris Climate Accords would have stopped Helene and Hurricane Milton would not be happening?
God, Brian, you web and twist everything.
No, you said it's happening because of So I'm trying to figure out how would the Paris? By the way, the French turned their Jews over to the Nazis in the war. I don't want to sign anything they got. How would the Paris Climate Accords stop hurricanes?
You say it. God bless the state of Florida and everybody who's going.
Okay. Okay, all right. So he's surrendering. All right, listen, we're out of time. We had a hurricane of calls on the board there at the end. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 a.m. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane is here. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. If you're on the west coast of Florida, do what they tell you. If you're in an evac zone, evac. All right, we'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Thanks for listening, everybody, and God bless Florida for Milton. All right, guys, if you are new, make sure you subscribe, okay? And everybody else like the video, all right? I will see you all